Now we are. All right. Cool. And then we are. Man. Man, this is. All right. Man. All kinds of stuff going on for me. Okay. All right, we're going to do a show, and for those of you that listen that are here, a lot of this will probably drop again on Monday because we're going to try and pull some of this off and use it live. That's a little loud. Is that cool? You guys still hear everything all right? Awesome. So, and then we'll do like a Q&A at the end kind of because we'll do like an hour and a half probably, and then I may have to get up and pee. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. All right. It is indeed Jam Session. Subscribe, rate, and review, and hang out with us for a while right here on obviously the Jam Session podcast, of course, sponsored by Greening Law. Greening Law, a personal injury law firm in Dallas, Texas, fighting the legal battle so you have time for healing and renewal. It is the moment that we've all been waiting for. And as we record this live at Legal Draft Beer Company in Arlington here on a Saturday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the radio, TV, and now podcast superstar, the sexy Jean-Jacques Taylor.
What up, dog?
I, of course, see, this is what's weird because I'm actually not unsexy. And now that everybody sees me in person, like, why do you say you're not sexy? You obviously are. But here we are. It is me, Matt McLaren, and this is Jam Session, a live version of the podcast. This, of course, will be version 72. So we ask all of you here and all of you listening, simply prepare to be dazzled,
if not entertained.
And we have a lot to get to today. I've been told that Stone Cash is going to call in.
Stone Cash.
We haven't talked to him in, like, if you remember the radio show, we haven't talked to him in.
That dude been tripping, man.
Time. I think probably, it was before COVID.
Yeah, probably so.
So we'll have something to do with him. So hopefully.
Just for the record, I was in Vegas on a business trip last week, and I tried my best to hook up with that fool. Text him, send him a DM on Twitter and Instagram. Crickets. I'm just saying.
Well, look, we'll see what happens, but that'll be coming up a little bit later on. And of course, you guys that are here and those that will be listening to this whenever it drops, I guess on Monday, what is today? The 22nd of March, coming up in a couple of days. Tell you about Greening Law. They are our newest sponsor, our title sponsor. We're really happy to team up with these guys. Greening Law, if you've been hurt in a car accident, experienced malpractice from a physician, hospital, injured on the premises of a business, those types of things, you need to call Greening Law. That's who we recommend you go with. They've represented all kinds of things. And really the cool thing is the consultation is free and they don't get paid unless you do.
And that's what I always like about it. They don't get paid unless you get paid. And so many times something goes down, you don't want to talk to an attorney for a variety of reasons. Bad move. You can leave thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even 7 digits out there in the streets. So we always recommend, you got a problem, just check with them. They ain't getting paid unless you get paid.
That's the way to do it, man. So give them a call, 972-934-8900. Call the Green Team, Robert Greening at Greening Law Office, Dallas, Texas. And then, of course, Blue Star Motor Group, who I saw that Jeep that I've been talking about, that Rubicon that I told everybody about that was like crazy affordable, that was like loaded out. Deb tagged me in a picture. Somebody bought it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I love the fact she tagged you.
I don't know if it's a listener or not, but somebody bought it. And so the fact that she tagged me, I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it, but still, it's one of those things. But Blue Star Motor Group, we've been telling you about these guys for a while. They're local. It's a husband and wife team, local family owned, Blue Star Motor Group. And that is where I will go whenever I finally am able to actually get a vehicle.
Yeah, because the best thing about them is there's no middleman. Deb owns it. So you don't have to figure about who's handling all of this or that. You make a deal with Deb, the deal gets done. That, and if they don't have it, guess what? Then go get it. How about that?
They'll do it. They'll make it happen. We actually had a guy. Yeah, I think we talked about that like a while back that had emailed saying he was looking for a car but couldn't find it on their website. So he called Deb and she actually was able to help him out. So you guys, if you're in the market for that, give Deb a call, 817-881-4066. It's Blue Star Motor Group. Of course, online at bluestarmotorgroup.com. But let's get rolling here because I have to say something that really jumped off my Twitter, which all you guys can follow us at McMatt Radio at JJT_journalist. I was scrolling through. God, I keep thinking it's Sunday because normally we do this on Sunday, but it's Saturday afternoon. So it was yesterday. Right. And I'm scrolling through and you start seeing these names. They're going to be coming in to Frisco next week that is going to have some visitations with the Cowboys. And one of them we had kind of talked with Todd Archer about, which is Demontre Kazee, the safety from Atlanta. The other one is the other safety. Like when you think, okay, what's the safety from Atlanta? Everybody thinks Keanu Neal. That's like who everybody thinks of. And what really struck me about that was Keanu Neal coming off an injury, yes, but they're also bringing him in. The report was they're bringing him in as consideration as the weak side linebacker.
And apparently it's down to the Cowboys and the Jets. And the Jets were looking at him as a weak side linebacker. Now, let me tell y'all a quick story. There's a point to this. I promise.
All right.
But, you know, I teach a journalism class at SMU. And I tell them everything happens for a reason. Your job is to find out the reason. So I'm at the gym this morning working out with my dude. He come every day for the 5 years we've worked out. He wears Nike socks that cover his calf. Every day, black ones. Today, he's rocking white no-shows. So I go, dog, you feeling good about yourself? We've been working legs hard. You showing the whole leg? What's up with the socks? And he says, I went to do something yesterday. I didn't lock my car. Somebody broke in my car, stole my gym bag. These were the only socks I had at the house. So I said, this is just what I told y'all. This is why you ask about everything's got a reason. And so you ask and find out what the reason is. So that's the foundation. Let's go to the point. Why the hell Keanu Neal need to play weak side linebacker now? He done played safety his whole career.
Yeah,
he done blew out his Achilles. Yeah. So now you playing linebacker because you can't run? What's the deal? I need to know the answer. Why are you a linebacker now when you ain't never been a linebacker?
And why are the Cowboys looking at, and again, I don't know what the investment would be for a guy like that. It's a name, obviously. Is he coming on the cheap? Is there some sort of a long-term problem? But who plays that position right now? Or moving forward is supposed to be Leighton.
Right.
So I don't know that you're bringing in, if he's coming in here as that position, I don't know that he's coming in here to start. Like you're basically going to.
Well, I mean, he's a situational player.
Yeah, and maybe he's like a box safety, and they consider that type of position where really he plays in the box more and is not like some sort of a hybrid, almost like a rover.
Right. I think the key is you got to get the answer to the question. Why are you all of a sudden a linebacker when you ain't never been a linebacker? And again, the Jets are looking at him as a linebacker. So it's not just the Cowboys. Why? Why is always the most important part of any story. Why?
Yeah, because, I mean, originally, if you had told me 2 weeks ago, Keanu Neal, I'd be like, all right, badass. Like, who wouldn't want Keanu Neal? I mean, he's got a name. Dan Quinn knows. I mean, that's the thing with Kazee as well, obviously coming from Atlanta, both those guys. The other name that you're very familiar with, and this is, I found this one, I think when I saw this, like, okay, I'm intrigued the same way that if I wasn't a Cowboy fan, I'd be intrigued if Leighton was a free agent. And that's Malik Hooker, the safety, who apparently is going to be in town next week for a visit. Now, before we all get excited, Malik Hooker played 2 games last year. He has played the same amount of games as Leighton Vander Esch, but in 4 seasons. He's played 35 games in 4 seasons out of a possible 64.
Why is that?
Because he's injured all the time. He's literally not – his first season, I think he played 5 games, got hurt, he was out for the year. Second season, like 14, 13, and then 2 last year.
So
all these guys that they're talking about bringing in, Kazee, who nobody even knows who the hell that guy is, and then Hooker and Neal, who are both coming off catastrophic injuries.
Yeah, that's
Cowboys free agency. How exciting.
That's why they're available. Now, the good thing is Malik Hooker is only 24. And, he's a guy that people think is a playmaker. And, he's had 7 interceptions and he's only played 35 games. Think about it. That's more than Byron Jones had in the first 6 years. I'm serious. It is.
Kazee's the dude that has like 10 interceptions. He had 7 in 1 year. That's more than the Cowboys secondary has had since I was born.
So Malik Hooker to me is fine if you sign him on a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal that voids a 2 or 1, as long as you got team options in there. Because if he wants to go with that, because the other flip side is you ain't the only team trying to catch a bargain with Malik Hooker. So there's some competition there. And so you may not, as a Cowboys fan or as a Cowboys organization, be able to dictate the terms because you like, fine, I'll just go sign anywhere. So it may just be a 1-year prove it deal. And
you know what these are? This just struck me because we talked about this last week. It's exactly what I said was going to happen. They're names that we know, that we all recognize. Well, not Kazee, but the other two, Neal and Hooker especially. It's just like last year. Like, oh, wow, awesome. So, Clinton Dix is going to be a Cowboy. And then you look at what had been his recent history. And Don Terry Poe and Gerald McCoy, it's the same thing where at least like you're talking about with Hooker, he's still very young.
Malik Hooker is good when he plays. He just don't play.
Like Leighton Vander Esch.
Right. And so
like Sean Lee. I mean, same guy, just coming from a different organization.
Yeah, so you hoping you can catch that 1 year that he does play to get healthy, and then he can go sign a big deal next year. That's what you're hoping for. But you need him to play well, and they need a safety who can make plays, and he would fit that bill. Be the best safety they had around here in a while.
I mean, he's a former first round. You know him well, obviously. He's a Buckeye.
Yeah, but I'm in my mind, I think he only played 1 year at Ohio State.
He was good. I remember him from Ohio State.
I think he was a classic. I'd have to go back and look. I think he was a classic redshirt sophomore. So he came out. So I think he was redshirted, played a little bit as a freshman, had a great sophomore year, and boom, he was gone.
Well, now he may be a Cowboy.
He got drafted at 21.
Yeah, because other than that, I mean, everything that the Cowboys do, I mean, we're all familiar with this. All of you that listen to the podcast regularly we've had Archer on, we had Clarence Hill on. Jacques been around it for years and years. I mean, there's no difference. This is what they do.
Nah, I was right. He was a redshirt sophomore because I only remember him playing 1 year, and he played 1 year and turned himself into a first round pick and bounced.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
And now, I mean, you are right. I think a guy like that, and this is one thing that I also think is interesting.
Damn,
is with Dan.
He had 7 interceptions that year. I don't even remember that, man.
At Ohio State?
Yeah, he played.
Yeah, he was with the Eli Apple secondary, right?
No, he had 7 interceptions in 2016. I guess that's why he came out. And he returned. Oh, my God, I got to go look at his highlights. He had 7 interceptions and returned 3 of them for touchdowns. So I guess I need to look at his highlights. He makes
plays. I mean, the guy can play. He would be, like you just said, he'd be the best safety the Cowboys have had in years if healthy. Well, and if the injuries that he has had aren't taking a toll on his body.
You know what my dad told me this morning? I talked to my dad for an hour this morning.
That was nice.
One of the things he told me this morning was we were talking about something. He says, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
I guess that
sounds like Malik Hooker in the secondary to me.
What do you mean you can see? I've got my one eye.
Right? Land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
What land of the blind?
We're just out there.
I know, but how would they even know that he could see? He could be lying to them. Like, how would they know that he had the eye?
Because he'd hold up.
They can't see that he even has the eye.
He'd hold up. How many fingers am I holding up? And they wouldn't know. And he'd say 2.
But anybody could do that. Like any of the blind people could be like, I also have an eye. No. And nobody would know if they did or not because they're all blind. And then
except the one-eyed man.
He doesn't have the eye. I do. How does anybody know? That's a weird.
The one-eyed man knows.
You have to admit that's a weird. Like I think my point is very valid on that.
You were kidnapped by aliens. So
I think to go back to that chat about this is Dan Quinn. he's had those types of safeties. Obviously, in Seattle, he had those types of safeties. They tried multiple times in the draft, Keanu Neal being the best example of getting that when he was in Atlanta. So what's really interesting is for a franchise, man, we used to talk about this on the radio. This is not a franchise that values the safety position. And
Nope.
I don't know that they're placing high value in it, obviously, but it looks at least like there may be a different philosophy in how they approach the safety position with Dan Quinn.
The Cowboys, to me, are doing what they always do. They're letting, there's this misnomer out here that Jerry runs everything. Jerry typically allows you to do whatever you would like to do as a coach, and then it's up to you to have the balls to say what you would like to do. And so, to me, they're just, Dan Quinn says, hey, these kind of players I want, these kind of players I need. And so they're allowing him to go get those kinds of players.
So we'll see, but that's the latest in Cowboys free agency, unless somebody has seen something today, but I haven't seen anything, and it's the typical, this is what you expect. I mean, the Cowboys are what they are, but, and God, this is what tricks us, because their names, you're like, oh man, Malik Hooker, that'd be badass if he was healthy. Keanu Neal, why wouldn't you want that guy? Just like last year, like, oh, Gerald McCoy. Man, if he still has something left, that he could really make some plays and doesn't even get on the team. He gets hurt before the season even begins. Clinton Dix. We've talked about this a gazillion times. The dude sucked for a reason, not even in the league last year. But you're like, oh, former first-round draft pick. He played at Alabama. Malik Hooker, former first-round pick. Sure, he's been banged up, but he'll come here and we'll strike gold, which never happens. They never strike gold on anybody in free agency.
That's what they're trying to do, man. I was looking at how many pure safeties have the Cowboys drafted in the last 20 years?
Roy Williams. Oh, you mean just overall? Obviously Woods, Donovan Wilson that are on the team right now.
Right.
Trying to think. There's probably been a bunch of spares that I don't even remember in late rounds. But nobody, I mean, they don't ever, like the last time they ever invested in anybody was Roy Williams.
Yeah.
That was it. They don't draft safeties. They just try to do what they did with Woods. Like, oh my God, this dude's a 6-rounder. Sweet. I can't believe we lucked out. This is going to be a tangent. We didn't have this on the notes, but here, this is what happens when you podcast. If we had this conversation the other day about their recent draft history, when you start thinking about it, it feels like they have a lot more misses, and you start wondering about the way they put their draft together recently. They can't evaluate the quarterback position. They have no clue, secondary-wise, what pieces are going to work.
I don't know about that. I think now, see, I'm gonna tell you, you should do what you always do with yourself. You should put it to a spreadsheet because, in general, most people don't draft well. Like you miss on like 60% of the draft picks that you make, and so when you don't draft well, in general, there's going to be a lot of misses. And let me just tell y'all, for me personally, I only care about the first 3.5 rounds. Everything else is a throw a dart on the board. Why do I know this?
They're good at throwing darts on the board.
Because Cowboys scouting directors have told me this for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
First 3 or 4 rounds is where you find players. Everything else is a crapshoot.
This microphone's driving me insane. Just wants to fall over. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to hold it. It's pissing me off. All right, there we go. I think we're good. All right, back to your topic. Sorry. No, but that's it. I mean, that's just the update on Cowboys free agency. That again, it's never exciting, and you hope that one of these years it can't possibly be as bad as last year.
You weren't excited about the run stopper from Chicago?
Yep, sure was. I looked up on the team website for his jersey, but they don't have it out yet.
Well, see, he's not a sexy dude, but he kind of dude that can help make you a better team.
Yeah, and they I think
he's
to be
supposed
fair,
to be good. I'm not going to sit there and tell y'all I followed the Chicago Bears run stoppers, but he's supposed to be good for what he does.
Well, I feel like, to be fair, like for the most part, they've done well with those types of players in the past.
Right.
Of those guys coming in and being what they need them, not stars.
Right.
But being solid rotational pieces that they can use. I feel like they've had success with that. Last year, almost to me, feels like an anomaly where they just hardcore missed on absolutely everybody except Greg Zuerlein.
I would agree with that. And most times in free agency, you're like, when they sign all them cats, I go, well, all these guys got questions about them.
Right.
Seems to me that half will be answered positively and half will be answered negatively. And instead, they got all answered negatively. That's unusual.
Yeah, and that's why maybe this is the year where if you go back to the mean, that it kind of balances out a little bit better for you. And maybe they'll hit on these guys that they're bringing in.
True that.
And then they'll be gone in a year and they'll try to do it again.
It's the nature of the beast, man. Only your core guys are staying. Everybody else is 1 or 2 year deals and out the door.
All right, so as we move forward here, don't forget if you are here with us at Legal Draft, welcome. Really cool to see so many of you guys. It is 3 9-ounce pours for $10. That's the special. If you're here for the podcast, just let them know, and they'll get you set up with that. I'm drinking that new blueberry beer, that blueberry wheat.
How is it?
It's pretty good. It's not my favorite that I've ever had in my lifetime, but it's pretty good. I mean,
okay, I was looking for honesty there, and that's honesty.
Yeah, there's a brewery, believe it or not, out of Little Rock, Arkansas, called Flyway that makes one called Blue Wing that is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's like a blueberry muffin in a glass. It's really light. It's very nice. And so this is not quite that, but this has it's a little bit more subtle with the blueberry. It's more of like a wheat. I don't get it like boom with the blueberry.
All right.
If that
Am
makes
I
sense.
going to like it?
Yeah, maybe. It's not too sweet. It's
That
not
ain't no
super
regular
beery.
endorsement.
It's not like beery. You know what I mean?
All
It's
right.
berry, not beery, if that makes
All right.
sense. But yeah, so
I'll give it a whirl later.
make sure you take advantage of that. And last time we were out here, I mean, Legal Draft has got some really good stuff. Apparently, for those of you here, we have a Jam Session 4-pack that Jacques is going to give away to somebody.
Yeah. That's
Still
our beer.
hanging
Can't you see
around.
our faces on?
It is our beer.
It's a hazy, juicy IPA.
So make that happen.
Yeah, we'll do that later on at some point.
And then, of course, don't forget, as always, I know for a fact, that's what it is. So it has lemon in it. It's blueberry and lemon. That's okay. That explains a little bit to me. I was
Lemongrass or just lemon?
thinking just lemon, I
Because
guess.
I prefer lemongrass.
Do you?
Yeah, it's got a little more subtle zing.
Okay,
to
that
it.
makes sense. I was like, something.
See?
Okay,
See?
yeah,
See?
I got it now. Yeah, so Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwell. Don't forget about that. They have this beer, I know for a fact, available in cans. As a matter of fact, Deidre was telling us that she's going to be getting some more of that next week because I was going to put it in the new Jam Session 6-pack that we will launch next week out there at Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwell. Jason and Deidre, local family owned. If you guys can make it to Arlington, maybe you can make it to Rockwell. It's only like an hour from here. But swing by, maybe you'll see my statue that supposedly exists.
It don't.
How do you know?
Well, I've looked.
That's true.
I
You go
ain't
out to
seen it.
Rockwell. You go out to Rockwell all the time, so I guess that's
But maybe
true.
it's out there. I haven't been through every nook and cranny in Rockwell.
Yeah, there's a lot of random places that I would have to show you that real Rockwell people know about. Like Beer Geek Shop. It's right there in downtown Rockwell, just off the square. So get on out there and support them. Local, family owned. Everything at Beer Geeks is available in singles, which is pretty awesome. They have over 400 different beers from across the world. And as we talk about all the time, one of the things that she is really good about doing is making sure that she has a lot of different beers that you can't get in the bigger stores. Like the wings from Kroger, like you may go in to get the wings from Kroger and you're like, oh my God, these are amazing. But then the beers that Deidre would not be the same beers that Kroger would have a lot of the
True
time.
that.
She does a really good job of doing that. So it's a little harder accessibility for some of the stuff that she's bringing in.
Yeah, but what I like about it is if you're new to craft beer or you haven't tried a lot of stuff, you just tell her what you like, the types of flavors you like, the types of styles that you like, and say, surprise me. Now, I do that all the time,
Uh-oh.
which is why I now have a fridge full of beer that hogs the fridge in the garage because everybody who's black got a fridge in the garage.
I mean, white people have that. I have one.
Do you?
My parents always had one growing up. I have a beer fridge now, but my mom and dad have a fridge out, like an extra fridge or whatever.
Okay.
I feel like that's what rich people have,
That could be it too.
which is why my extra fridge is a small, tiny one that I got as a gift.
That reminds. This is a true story.
I think that's true, right? Rich people have 2 refrigerators, much like rich people have TVs in every room.
So, you know how Dion, how Dion used to put,
Oh, that's awesome.
hey, Selena, what are you drinking?
It looks like some sort of a stout.
Huh?
The Irish Car Bomb,
Is that a beer?
apparently.
Oh.
It looks like one. Yeah. So
All
maybe
right.
you
I
can
got
have that.
sidetracked because I was like, oh, that's interesting. No, Dion, who I spend a lot of time with lately. Do I have to give his last name?
Sanders?
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Who else is named Dion? Like,
I So anyway, I spend a lot of time with Deion these days because I pretty much covered Jackson State for the undefeated. One of my many jobs with the JJT Media Group. And so, do you know how Deion used to register? You know, you go to a restaurant, you check in, you make a reservation. You know what his name used to be for reservations?
What?
This is true.
What is it?
Rich Blackman.
That's kind of awesome.
So I said, Rich Black Man. He goes, yeah, Rich Black Man.
That's awesome.
I said, like, Rich Black Man? He's like, yeah, I used to like to hear him say that when they called me.
Fair enough, man.
So I bet he got 2 fridges.
By the way, we do have some breaking news while we are doing this live. It is being reported right now that Keanu Neal is signing with the Dallas Cowboys. A 1-year, $5 million deal, $3 million to sign on a 1-year, $5 million deal. That's being reported by Rappaport and Josina Anderson. So
how about that?
Keanu Neal's a Cowboy. All right. A name we know in free agency.
I don't feel much excitement out here.
I don't know.
I didn't hear not a single not a single.
Yeah, nobody cheered.
Not a single hand clap.
Everybody
not a
just kind
toe
of
tap.
like rolled their eyes like, oh no, why is this happening? Yeah, so Keanu, I mean, we were just talking about that, and he is coming to Dallas. Been in the league for a few years out of Florida, as I recall. I was just looking he's only 25 years old.
He's only 25?
Yeah, 25-year-old safety, man, former first-round pick, obviously very familiar with Dan Quinn and what he expects. I'm really interested to see how they use that. That's kind of exciting. I'm just glad they signed a dude I know who he is. Like, I was actually excited about Greg Zuerlein last year. I was like, Greg the Leg. When we had kickers in my fantasy
So
league.
you're not excited about McQuaid, the long snapper?
No, I mean, who cares about the long snapper until he screw up? Nobody even knows that they're on the team. The only reason anybody knew who Ladouceur was is because he'd been around for so long.
True that.
Like, literally name the long snapper before him. Nobody knows. I could make up a name. But oh yeah, that sounds about right.
No, that's
Bob Whitworth. I think it was Bob Whitworth.
No. That's the year they went through 3 long snappers because the kicker got hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they snapped the dude. He was from Jacksonville. He snapped the ball over the dude's head.
Yeah, and they got rid of him.
And then Tim Cedar broke his leg. It was terrible, man. They went through 3 long snappers in 1 year.
And so that's what led us to this.
All
right. Well, that's exciting. So good job. Cool. Keanu Neal coming to Dallas. Only been in the league. He was at 2016 class, I believe. Same as Dak and Zeke.
Where you go to school? LSU, Florida.
All
right. You said that.
Yeah.
I heard that, but I wasn't hearing
SEC, man. So, Dak will be joking with him about how he was tearing him up while he was leading Mississippi State to the #1 team in the country.
Probably so.
I kid. So we'll continue here. And I found some stories I wanted to get into, take a trip around the block. And since we're in Arlington, how about this? Local guys talking about local things. Arlington Library next week is doing their annual sell. Who's excited? You can go and get books at a discount price. I thought this was interesting.
Anymore?
What do you mean
books.
people read? Oh, you mean paper
people
books?
Read books.
Like paper books, not
because like
Kindle or whatever.
Yeah,
I do.
Because I got like 50 books on his iPad.
Yeah. I was going to say, no, I haven't. No, that's not true. I'm actually reading a book right now.
Oh,
a paper.
Really?
Yeah, I'm reading 3 books right now, but one of them is an actual book, and the other 2 are on my iPad.
Why are you reading 3 books at once?
They're all different. Like sometimes I read for leisure, and
whichever you prefer.
Exactly. And one of the things that I like to do is sometimes in the morning I read more so for personal growth and whatnot. So I'll read a little bit more. I don't even know how to describe it. Like one book I read Think Like a Monk that Jay Shetty wrote, and I would read like a chapter of that every day and kind of like meditate essentially a little bit.
Right?
Yeah, that type of thing. And then at night I read more for entertainment value.
Okay, what are you reading for entertainment value right now?
Well, I just read a book. I'm actually about to finish it about Hiroshima that was written right after the bomb was dropped in the 1940s.
Hiroshima or Hiroshima?
However you like it. I mean, I don't know, but I thought it was Hiroshima.
I don't know.
No, so I read a book about that. It's not that long. And originally, the dude that wrote it was like a massive article in the New Yorker right after the bomb was dropped.
Right.
And he somehow happened to be over there because the American government was covering everything up and wasn't allowing stories to get out about how bad it actually was.
Right.
So he wrote this massive story that they ended up turning in. It's like a 200-page book that at the time was that issue of the New Yorker. That's all it was that story.
Really?
Yeah. And it's really, he went back, and so the book, he goes back in the mid 80s and checks up with the people. He had picked 6 people, told their stories about where they were, what happened when the bomb got dropped.
That's cool.
And then 40 years later goes back in the mid 80s and catches up with them to find out how their life turned out, what happened, all this type of thing.
I like that.
I was reading that. Yeah, I read that, and then I read a lot of weird random stuff. I just started a book about the Titanic.
All right.
Like I like to read a lot of historical nonfiction.
Now, see, I just judged you for reading 3 books, and then I thought about it. I said, I think I'm reading 3 books at the same time.
See, I mean, you get it. I like to read, man.
Well, I like to. I kind of like to do that. Depending on what's up. But I was going to tell you what I'm reading.
All right, ready, go.
I was looking up. I'm reading The Secret to Success. See, that's when I do my morning stuff.
See,
with
it's
Eric
the same
Thomas.
thing. Okay, right, yeah.
In addition to Profit First, by this guy named Michael Michalowicz, and that's about when you have a business, how to make it successful by putting your money here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
But then I was reading for pleasure because Matt's turned me into a Michael Connolly.
So you're reading Bosch.
Yes, I'm reading Bosch.
Which one are you on?
Whatever this book is. This is some dog found a bone. Case of the Bones.
City of Bones.
City of Bones.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Then I started Kevin Garnett's biography.
So you're reading 4.
Yeah.
You read them every day or no? You
No.
just kind of cycle through them?
Through the week.
Yeah, see, I pretty much read literally every night before I go to bed. I try to read for 30 minutes or an hour to kind of settle my brain. Although some of the stuff I read, I end up dreaming about, and I have these weird-ass dreams.
I tend to play FIFA 20 for 20 minutes because that's how long one game takes to settle down at the end of the night.
I mean, you can imagine reading about the atomic bomb, and there's this one where they're describing like people's skin like hanging off them like a t-shirt, and then you dream about that at night. Like,
Yeah,
God,
I ain't trying to do that.
what am I doing to myself? And I just finished a book. I just finished a book about, it was about the D-Day invasion that was written. I think I told you about that. The Longest Day, that was written a while back. That was written like 10, 15 years after the war. And this dude went back and like did all this research and interviewed people that were actually there while they were still alive because it was still fresh in their memories. That was really good. They ended up turning that into a movie, I guess, back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, I never saw the movie, but the book was badass.
All right.
I got really into that one.
So you're going to get a book from the Arlington Library?
I'm
Because that's
just
where this
saying,
conversation starts.
if you like to read that, and you're here in Arlington next week, the Arlington Library, apparently every year to raise money for the next year, they sell off a lot of books and DVDs. If people still use those, I don't know. Do you guys still use DVDs? Is that still a thing? I don't know.
Okay, when's the last time you watched the DVD?
Man,
See, I watched one about a month ago.
which one?
I
I only own like 8. The
There's
Born
one of the
Identity, Born
series,
Supremacy, whatever.
whichever my favorite one was.
Yeah, because now for the most part, what I do is I just if I actually buy one, I buy it on Amazon, just download it to my PS4, and then I own the digital copy or whatever.
Yeah, I should probably do that. I bought a couple the other day. Within the last month, because sometimes I want to see a movie when I want to see it.
Right. And there's so many different movies that are out there now. Like I'll go through Netflix. I'm like, wow, I haven't seen this in a while. And I'll just pick one randomly and
I
watch
did that with New Jack City last week.
That one always is good.
I watched it start to finish.
That's like 30th anniversary, right?
That's why I watched it.
Yeah,
We should talk about that.
We should. It's good. It's a good movie, man.
No, it's a great movie.
And I remember watching it years ago. That's one of those movies that I went through when I was working at the video store. So elsewhere, I came across this story, and I knew that this had closed, but if any of you spend any time in Dallas, like in the Uptown area at any point, Ginger Man over there had closed. There it is. I knew that was going to happen eventually. Jacques broke his mic. It's over. The show's done.
It happens from time to time.
No, so in Uptown in the Quadrangle, Ginger Man used to be there, and they opened it in an old house in the early 1990s, and it had closed down during the pandemic. And just this last week, they demolished it and raised it with the bulldozer and have cleared that lot. And that building, that whole facility doesn't even exist anymore. And
the whole thing is gone?
Yeah, they just absolutely just tore down the house and it's gone. It's an empty lot. And apparently what they were doing is they're going to redesign the Quadrangle to be more walkable with less emphasis on the ring of parking around the perimeter. And they're going to put in 7 new restaurants and retail concepts that'll be installed on what they have cleared, which is a 4-acre lot.
You know, we was just at the Quadrangle a few weeks ago. We went to breakfast at Sweet Dreams or Dream Cafe.
Yeah, and they're moving that. She's
Where
moving,
is that going?
So they're moving that to where Christie's used to be, which is right there on McKinney. Used to be Christie's Sports Bar, and then Christie's moved to Lower Greenville, I think. Everybody's like hopping around. They're not closing. They're just moving.
Why is that? The rent's too high?
I guess, man. I don't know what they're doing over there. The rent's always too damn high. Whatever happened to that guy?
This is a lovely Lorraine helping me out.
We need that guy to come back. Remember that guy that ran for president? The rent is too damn high. He was awesome. He always wore those white gloves. You guys remember that dude? That guy was awesome. And he was right. The rent is too high.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. They say that they want you to live and then they charge you ridiculous amounts.
You know, my sister wrote a book about that.
Well, she was right. Whatever she wrote, it's correct.
Yes.
I know for a fact. Yeah. So that whole thing with, I mean, the Ginger Man to me was one of those things because, you know, one of my very best friends, Nick, lived in Uptown. He had a loft down there for years. And we used to go down there and hang out all the time. And I would crash at his place because he lived right there at Hall and Thomas. And we could walk. I mean, you could walk right down the street to the Ginger Man. So I used to go to the Ginger Man all the time.
Oh.
The Ginger Man. Oh, this is a great story. I just remembered this. This is awesome. So I think all you guys are familiar. I love Pat Green. Pat Green's probably my favorite musical artist. I love him. Texas country guy.
True that.
So Pat Green, he has this song called George's Bar, which I'm a big fan of. So back when I was in my single days and I was down in Uptown and I'm on a date with this girl and she's very boring. I'm just being honest. She just was not giving me a lot to work with.
Right.
But I was trying to be cool. So we had dinner and I was like, I could tell already that there's just nothing here.
There's nothing here.
But I was like, well, you know, she's like, do you want to get a drink? I was like, sure, why not? You know, we'll go have a drink. You never know. Maybe you need a beer and you'll stop being so shy. I mean, you never know. Who knows? So we go to the Ginger Man and I'm asking her questions like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a teacher. Oh, that's cool. What do you teach? You know, whatever, like second grade. Cool. Like any specific subjects? No, pretty much all of them. Awesome. So which one do you like the most? I don't know. Good. Like that type of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. So I literally sat in front of this girl and I go, you know, my brother and I, we used to go down to George's Bar. And she's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, we drink Big O's until they closed down the place. She's like, that's cool. I was like, well, you know, he took off for the Bright Lights down in Austin. And those are the lyrics to the song. So I'm just speaking the lyrics to the song. We're sitting out back. I know why I did that because I asked her, I was like, so do you like, what kind of music do you like? She's like, oh, I love Texas country. I was like, me too. I was like, who do you like the most? It's like Pat Green. It's like, oh my God, I love Pat Green. And so then I got to that point. I was like, okay. And so I started doing it. She had no idea what I was talking about. And that's when I realized like, okay, was I an ass? Maybe. But you got to entertain yourself to some degree.
True that.
I mean, I've had all kinds of wild stories from random dates throughout the years.
Yes, far more than me.
And that one just popped up in my head because of Ginger Man. It was at that Ginger Man in Uptown. That is no more. It's unfortunate. So we'll move forth here, and we have to have this conversation. And you guys are welcome to scream stuff out if you would like, because I really wanted to get into this. And this may be a lengthy conversation. It has nothing to do with sports, but last night, Friday night, I have my son this weekend and we're sitting at home and we're watching we were waiting for him to come back over so we could watch the finale of WandaVision. So we watched that and then we get into what they just released on Disney Plus, which is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is like their next little episodic TV thing.
I didn't realize it was episodic TV.
I didn't either until I started. I was like, oh, okay. Apparently there's going to be 6 episodes of it. And man, I got to be honest with you. I'm sitting here watching this and I'm watching Falcon and I'm just like, man, this dude sucks. Like what does he do other than he has mechanical wings? And
he talks to birds.
Apparently, right. So I look it up because then I just go off and I was texting you about this.
Yeah, he was.
And I put it up on Twitter. It's like, who is the lamest superhero? And I don't mean like a fake one like Blank Man or, you know, people are just throwing out silly stuff from cartoons. I'm talking about like superheroes that are prominent in the Avengers or the Justice League that we all are real familiar with.
Right.
And I was like, man, it can't be Falcon, right? Because at first I'm thinking Falcon, he doesn't do anything. He can't actually fly. He needs the mechanical wings. But then I read he has telepathy with birds. I mean, I guess that comes in handy if you need to ride an ostrich or something.
I mean, if that's your standard, Iron Man don't do nothing. He got a suit that does everything.
Right,
for him.
exactly. Fair, totally fair.
He even got a bad heart.
You know what? I have no problem with
You
that.
can't even rely on him.
So I eliminated Falcon because he actually has, now it may be a really weird one,
Now,
but it's
there's
actually
a whole movie about the birds taking over a whole city.
right.
So
that's what I'm saying.
having bird power, that's I mean, they could drown you in pigeon poop.
But I just kept thinking about it. I was like, man, like, are there not high-level assassins? He doesn't wear a helmet. He's not superhuman strength. You could shoot him in the head, he'd be dead.
You make a good point there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people go bird hunting all the time. You just see that dude flying around.
I mean, what about the Green Arrow? I mean,
okay, so right.
There's a lot of lame dudes floating around. Hawkeye. I mean, come on, man.
That's the one. You guys know Hawkeye? I'm telling you right now, lamest superhero there is. He is. No, for real. Like, I looked him up. He has zero. You know what they say about him?
He's just a marksman. He's a sniper.
He's like a black belt guy in a variety of different things. And essentially, he would be like if LeBron James decided to be a superhero, like just this elite level, badass athlete guy, super well conditioned and all this. That's what Hawkeye is with a bow and arrow. How do you not kill that guy in 5 seconds of battle?
I mean, what's Daredevil do?
That's what's so fake about that is that
he's blind and all he's got a baton.
Thanos would have killed, like Thanos would have been like, oh, Hawkeye's a thing. He would have killed him without even it would have been like a mosquito on his windshield.
Now the X-Men got real skills.
That's what I'm saying. And they're mutants. They have actual abilities. So what I thought was interesting is this, because I absolutely love this guy. He's one of my favorite superheroes. But I texted you this. Batman legit is just a super high level ninja. He has no actual superpowers. He's just a really well-skilled ninja that has cool weapons. So, so my thing is, at what point are you a superhero? To me, I feel like you have to have something.
You got to be bit by something to give you some
or have
powers.
like an actual superpower, right?
Right.
Like Superman. A couple people on Twitter are like, "Oh, Superman's the lamest." Like, what? Superman's like the definition of superhero.
Yeah,
Now he's from a different planet. He's fast as the Flash. He's stronger as any superhero. He shoots lasers out of his eyes, and he can see people naked.
And you take him out with a rock.
Okay, well, everybody's got to have a
take him out with a rock.
You could take me out with a couple of cans of Heady Topper. If I was a superhero, they'd be like, oh, my God, how do we get this guy down? Here's a can of Heady Topper. I'd be like, oh, my God. And that'd be it. That'd be my weakness. No, everybody has to have a weakness. I just thought this was interesting because I don't really know. And that's what's fascinating about this next phase of the MCU. I don't really know a lot about Winter Soldier or Falcon. And Disney Plus has put out these little vignettes that are about 6 to 8 minutes long where you can watch them and they kind of explain the backstory of who these people are. And they show you the different movies they've been in throughout the course of the first 3 phases. Because Winter Soldier, I kind of remember him. Obviously, Falcon, you remember, because he had a large presence in Endgame and in the last few movies that came out. But man, I have to be honest with you, like Black Widow. Black Widow, some guys like, I mean, we know why she's pertinent because Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be hot. Pertinent? Because so they made her Black Widow. So now people think, oh, Black Widow must have. But
so what's her skill?
She actually has like mental abilities to do things and heal super fast. Like you could shoot her in the head and she would heal. And you shoot Falcon or Hawkeye, they're just dead.
Well, how come nobody ever does that?
That's what I'm wondering. It's like stormtroopers. How in the world do you have the technology to have speed of light travel across the galaxy and you can't design a suit that repels lasers? Like seriously, you guys ever think about that? I think about that all the time. They built a Death Star that had an energy cannon that can obliterate planets, and you get killed by a laser every time you get off your ship.
Hey, man, everybody got a weakness.
I guess everybody does.
I mean, they do. That's theirs.
So who
technology couldn't keep up with them.
Who's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero? You know, I'm a Wolverine guy.
Wolverine's badass.
Because I go 0 to 100 when I get pissy like him. And
you ever do that? You ever like take knives and stick them between your hands and act like you got claws?
Nah, bro. We didn't do that. It was not that original.
It's a crazy white guy thing.
No, the most we did was when we were kids, you had those long PJs that look like tights.
Yeah.
You have those. You have no shirt on, then you put on wristbands
Yeah.
for your power band. We rock with that.
All right. I cut myself once because I got 2 knives out of the dishwasher and I was like, and I just.
No.
You guys ever do that? Come on. Like you act like, you like a ninja guy with the knives. No.
I'm trying to think. Superheroes. Yeah, it's pretty much that. I was much more X-Men than Avengers or.
Yeah. Apparently, they're at some point introducing the X-Men into the Avengers world.
I like the X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men are underrated. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I always liked Wolverine the best too. I like that character too because he seemed kind of brooding and he didn't need to fit in.
Wasn't trying to fit in.
Plus, he had adamantium in his bones, so you couldn't break anything. I always thought that was awesome. Like he had a real high pain tolerance.
Yeah, I don't, but he did.
Yeah, I don't know. Avengers, I never really got into the Avengers until the movies started coming out. And then you realize.
Really? I liked the Avengers as a kid. Because one of my good friends growing up could draw. And so we would draw these comic books. And we create our own heroes and draw these comic books and stuff. Now, he drew much better than me. So y'all know what happened. I ended up writing them and he ended up drawing them.
Really?
He would draw them and I'd write out the scenes.
Like of the Avengers?
No, we had our own.
What'd you make up?
We had our own.
Do you remember their
group.
names?
No.
Damn. I bet they were awesome.
But we had our own group of heroes and villains, and we write the stories.
Wow.
And we do it just like this, just on notebook paper, folded like that.
You could have been like Stan Lee.
Could have been. Now, see, that takes me to somewhere else.
All right.
This is one of those separated by 6 degrees. One of my good friends in high school, who I still keep in touch with now. She ended up going to Harvard. She was the editor of the Skyline paper. And we just hit it off. And she goes to Harvard. She went to Harvard. Now she's check this out. She's a varicose vein specialist in San Francisco.
Like where she eliminates those?
Yeah. So when she comes back to Dallas once or twice a year, she'll call me up. We'll go have lunch or I'll go over to her house or whatever. But her brother, who went to Hillcrest, is the author of The Hulk.
Like he invented that dude?
No, but he writes
them?
He writes them now. Yeah. Greg Pak, P-A-K.
How
And he went to
badass is
Yale.
that?
So how about that? You got 2 kids. One goes to Harvard, one goes to Yale, one doctor.
Golly.
One writes the comic books on the Hulk.
Yeah, that's success.
Yeah.
It's like the Manning family.
Now, you know what the dad did? The dad was one of the inventors, one of the group, like a songwriter, who put together Tab, the soft drink that was the first diet
I
drink.
remember that in the like off-colored kind of
In the
reddish pink can.
Yeah. That was her dad.
He invented that?
He was one of the people that put the formula together.
Wow.
That's why they lived in the big house in North Dallas.
Yeah, you think? I bet they had a refrigerator in the garage. They probably had 3. This is our wine fridge. This is our beer fridge.
Now, the final part of that story is I was not much on academics. I was going to be a journalist.
Hey, C's and D's get degrees, man.
And so I did not, and plus I was going to Ohio State because my dad taught there. So I didn't really care about the SAT. And so the night before my SAT, we were working at the school newspaper at Skyline trying to get the yearbook out till like 1 a.m. And her mom gave me a ride home. And you got to understand, her mom gave me a ride home from
Like by
Skyline.
yourself? Just you and the mom?
Stop it. Which is in Pleasant Grove.
Everybody was thinking the same thing.
30 miles to Oak Cliff to my house. Then she drove 30 miles to her house. Sweet lady.
Apparently.
With your gutter mind.
What?
With your kid here and your gutter mind.
She drove you 30 miles each way.
I'm not even dignifying that with a comment.
She's a nice lady. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, she is.
A very nice
And
lady.
she gave me a hug when she saw me a couple years ago.
Yeah?
And that was it.
I believe you. I wasn't saying anything happened. I just didn't know.
Nothing happened.
You sure?
And I bombed the SAT the next day.
Really?
Dude, I fell asleep during the SAT. Like, you're...
Did you drink a sip of beer before you went in?
It felt like it.
Yeah.
I bombed the SAT, but I didn't really care.
Man, SAT was weird. That's a long time ago. They changed the grading system on all that and everything. Like
I don't know.
1600 used to be a perfect score.
But I don't think my dude's going to have to take it.
That'd
he
be
took it a
nice.
couple weeks ago, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to have to take it.
It doesn't matter, I think, at some points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like me. Like I did enough where I didn't have to take the ACT. I took the SAT, but I didn't have to. Whatever.
It's a BS
I forgot.
test because none of that is what you go over in school.
Yeah, it's so silly. Like it's just fake. Tests are fake anyway.
For the most
Really,
part.
the true way to do it. I tried to explain this to my mom and dad once. If you go to class every day and you show up and take the exam, but if you don't go to class and then they test you, that's a real testament of what knowledge you actually have.
What'd they say about that?
My dad said I should probably go or I can give him my keys. So that's usually how he handled things like that. So that was a fun tangent conversation as we continue. And let's tell you about a couple more of our awesome sponsors. I know you guys have heard about many of these guys several times. HFX Foundation Solutions. If you have a home, if you live in a house, and perhaps you're like, wow, you know what? Now that you say it, I think that's true. I do have some cracks. My doors are sticking a little bit. That's the type of thing that you look for where you may have a problem. You may not, but you might. And that's where HFX Foundation Solutions can come in for you and get that taken care of. Aaron and his team over there will get you set up. A-rated with the Better Business Bureau, hfxfoundation.com. You can also give them a call, 817-770-0174. Also, for those of you that live in the Dallas area, or it's not too much of a hike for you to get over to the Inwood and 35 area, I'm really excited for this because Logan Renfro, who owns and began that Blue Dragon Fine Art.
Yeah.
And it's online. You can look it up. I mean, yes, there's some expensive pieces. There's some affordable pieces, just all kinds of different art on the website, on his Instagram. He's opening a gallery, a physical gallery that will open, I believe it's March 27th. Yeah, next Saturday.
Right.
And it'll be open every Saturday, 11 to 5. So we had talked to him about that a few months ago. And as a matter of fact, he's trying to find a time for us to come out and do a live show there. We'll see how that works.
Right.
But that's one of those things where this dude had a dream, had a vision, and he's going to really, I think, recognize that next Saturday when this place opens, which is really cool.
That'd be cool. I'll go out there Friday and check it out. But I think what we like about it is me and Matt are both local. Me from Oak Cliff, Rugged and Ledbetter. Matt from Rockwall. And so anytime local cats do their thing and succeed, it's always a big yeah. That's what you do. Because it's hard to go local and succeed and live out your dream when people are either doubting you or you deal with all sorts of adversities trying to make it happen. And so, we got a lot of respect for that. And we always hope success. And then I know for a fact, because my aunt and my uncle were artists, that they would have loved to have something local that they could have put their work in.
No doubt.
Just
yeah,
see,
it's a great idea.
What it leads to.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea, and it's really awesome to see him having some success. What the hell
Success.
Did I just say what I think I just said?
See, if you didn't say it like that, you'd have 2 fridges.
And a TV in all my rooms. It'd be badass.
Yep.
Instead of my one that flickers half the time. BlueDragonFineArt.com. Check them out. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram as well. So we have, I guess, what time is it? Oh, it's almost 3 o'clock. So he was going to try and give us a call around 3 o'clock. So
all right,
I can dial him up and see if he's around.
Do that.
If you're ready for it here on the board. And we'll punch a couple of buttons and make this happen, I think. So we're going to try and get a hold of Stone Cash. Some of you may remember him from the radio show, The Props Bro, Stone Cash, who we have not talked to in some time. And it's the Bluetooth one, yeah. So we'll do that, bring it up, and all right, let's see. Which one? Oh, no. Hit the right button. So Stone, hello. Nope, don't hear him. Maybe he's not there. Oh, I know what it is. He's probably, it shows that there's an active call on the Bluetooth. So let's see, probably waiting for this.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Now that I played his official theme song, maybe he'll come in. Who knows? Haven't talked to him in a while. But yeah, welcome in, I guess. I figured NCAA tournament, I'd reach out and see if he had a minute where he could jump on with us.
True that.
Stone, thanks for doing this. It's been a while since we've chatted.
Bro, I am better than everyone alive today because I am rich. I woke up this morning in a bed that was hand stuffed with some sort of illegal duck feathers that I bought in Monaco for like $100,000, bro, for a mattress. I literally paid 4 of the most beautiful Egyptian women you'll ever see to hand thread my teeth with a thread count of 5,000.
Wow.
But I am here with you on my brand new iPhone that hasn't even been released to the public yet with a solid gold case because I ran into Jacques a couple of weeks ago at Omega Mart in Vegas.
Really?
And he was like, bro. And I was like, bro. So, bro, we're pros.
That's a damn lie. I look for you, and you were nowhere to be seen. But I mean, it's all right, dog. Day one of the tournament. How did it turn out for you? I mean, my boys went down.
I was a big winner yesterday, and your listeners can be too by calling me 1-800-BIG-CASH. I went 15-1 in my picks yesterday. I lost one game, bro. Which one? Let's just say Roy Williams was better at being a Cowboys wide receiver. I nailed the North Texas pick. The only thing meaner than the green yesterday was my girlfriend when I mistook her twin for her again. Happens, bro. Everyone was surprised that Oral downed Ohio State.
Really?
I got that pick. Never underestimate the power of Oral, bro, even if it's from Robert. If you had called me a couple of days ago, you'd be driving home in a brand new car of your choice today. That's what I do, bro. Tennessee losing to the 12? Come on, bro. Rick Barnes couldn't close the door.
I forget how many times you like to say bro. So very neat, bro. Games underway today that I know we'll get into here momentarily. Some have already finished up, but is there a big money play that you have for something maybe later tonight?
I love when bros like you ask questions like that. A big money play? All I do is play with big money, bro. Shaka Smart has the horns rolling coming into this thing, and the kids from ACU will be shocked to leave Abilene and experience an actual city. This isn't beach volleyball at Sonic, bro. This is for real. Texas will smoke ACU like a piece of meat at Franklin. Book it big. Also, I've got more money on Maryland to take down UConn than most people make in a year. Okay. You know why, bro?
Why?
Because other than I'm rich, it's because this is the men's team, not the women's team. UConn men, they haven't been good in like 5 years, bro. The Terps will take this one and then get rolled by Bama on Monday.
Hey, we're talking to Stone Cash the Props, bro. In case you guys haven't figured it out by now, you forget. Stone, looking ahead to Sunday's games, which matchup do you like, dog?
How about the Battle of the Prairie State, bro? Illinois coming in from Champaign, going up against Loyola Chicago. Look, everyone loves Loyola because they have a nun as a good luck charm. But, bro, this isn't a movie. We're not going to church today. We're going to the bank. Illinois is only favored by 7. When I first saw that, I called the doctor who did my LASIK and was like, bro, give me my money back because no way I saw that right. But, bro, it's true. I'll buy a Lambo with the money I win on that game. You want to buy a matching Lambo with me? Call 1-800-BIG-CASH, 1-800-HOT-PICK, 1-800-GET-RICH, bro. It doesn't matter. I own them all. It's what I do. Also, how about Baylor? Only favored by 6 over Wisconsin? What are we doing? That line is hotter than the girls on the Baylor campus. Baylor will cover that like Salt-Bae sprinkling a steak, bro.
Dude.
Wow, we were just talking about that the other day.
True that.
That's hilarious. All right, so there it is, a quick check-in with the world's most controversial sports betting guru. As always, Stone, I guess it's been interesting. Thanks.
Bro, call me. I had an $1,100 tomahawk steak covered in gold for dinner last night. You can make this happen. I make money. I am so rich, I literally know what BMW stands for. I live in Vegas, and I have never seen the inside of anything that isn't a suite. I eat at restaurants every day that don't even have prices on the menus. It's what I do. It's the best time of the year to make money, bro. Spend your stimulus check with me and spend tonight sleeping between Victoria and her secret. Don't cashing out.
All right.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes
So
the
that
money.
is, what are you going to do? Stone Cash.
My boy.
He's a special human being. There's no doubt about that. So.
No doubt.
God. It's good times. So we move forth here with you on our live version of the podcast, hanging out with you guys at Legal Draft Beer Company in Arlington. And for those wondering if you have made your way in, don't forget they are offering for Jam Session listeners 3 9-ounce pours for $10. So take advantage of that because that's a good deal. I need another beer at some point. I mean, did you ever get one?
No.
Man, I mean, hello, can you guys hear us? Can we have a beer? No. They're like, God, these guys are assholes. Not really, but yes. So I wanted to go through this because as you heard, can we get a beer when you get a chance, please? Would that be possible? Do you mind? Thank you very much. Well, just whenever somebody has a chance. Thank you so much. She's like, I hate you. It's okay. So do my parents. So what was I doing? Oh, the NCAA tournament. Yesterday, your guys. 8th time ever in the history of the NCAA tournament, a 15 knocks off a 2.
Are you going to ask a question? That was a statement.
Surprised? Disappointed? Care at all?
Let me be real with y'all. I don't have a real emotional investment in the basketball team. I'd love for them to win. I'd like for them to win. But I'm going to be real with you. I don't know anything about Oral Roberts.
Who does?
But as the game is coming on,
we all think the same
and I'm
thing.
listening to the pregame, I didn't like what I heard, which is they had this one dude averaging 30 points a game who's a 3-point shooter, and they were the best team in the country at shooting free throws, and they were top 5 shooting threes. That's a recipe for disaster in a 1-game elimination tournament. And then the worst possible thing happened. What was it?
You tell me. They
That
had to
dude
shoot free
came
throws
out
at the
and
end.
dropped one from 27 feet the first shot he took.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was 3-0. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. And then he hit another one from the corner, the kind where nobody's on you because you got free, and he measured it. The kind you normally miss. That dude dropped that one rock bottom. That made it like, I don't know. We were still winning, but the fact that they were shooting good, I was like, I don't like this.
So you watched the game then?
I watched pieces of the game.
So at the end, you're like, whatever.
Matter of fact, I left. We had some errands to run, so I like. If I had the emotional investment, do you think I would have left halftime of a football game?
No, and I think a lot of people that are big time fans of big time college football programs.
Yeah, I still can't give you all 5 starters. I can give you like 3.
Yeah, I mean it's just.
So I would have liked to have a deep run because I'd have watched the tournament more.
Right,
but it is what it is.
Man,
and
how about this? So I like Oral Roberts. I was just looking at this. The actual guy, Oral Roberts. That's just Oral. It's just funny. Like Oral-B toothbrushes. Choctaw American charismatic Christian televangelist in the schools in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He only died in 2009. He was 91 years old. The actual Oral Roberts.
Oh, I didn't know how long you've been passed.
Yeah, so you had that yesterday. You had the big one, at least for this
Can I tell you the real Oral Roberts story?
I would love to hear an Oral
The real
Roberts
Oral
story.
Roberts story is that I was covering a basketball game at Oral Roberts in January of like 1993.
In Tulsa?
In Tulsa. SMU versus Oral Roberts. Dead of winter.
That makes sense.
At Oral Roberts University.
That's before they had any good breweries there, too.
Yeah, I went in there. I put my coat up in the media room. I went out to the court. I covered the game. John Shoemate was the coach. I can't even remember who won or lost, but I remember Shoemate was the coach. I talked to him after the game. I wrote my story. I went in the media room at Oral Roberts University in the dead of winter. Somebody stole my coat.
They're supposed to be good Christian
That's
folk.
what I said. That's exactly what I said. Good Christian school named after a good Christian. Y'all done stole my coat at Oral Roberts University.
That is
I'll
amazing.
never forget that.
That is wild. You've actually been there.
I'll never forget it.
I didn't know where it was. I didn't know it was in Tulsa.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably have seen that before at some point, but I don't consciously think about Oral Roberts. It's such a random university. But
True that.
the other big upset yesterday, at least, was the one where North Texas, in a wonderful, wonderful moment.
You hate Purdue, and it's all about a woman.
Yeah, I don't care at all. I mean, North Texas, I didn't go there, but man, I forget how many people in the DFW media went to North Texas.
Dude, like all of them.
Like Twitter yesterday, like everybody's going
Blowing up.
berserk about North Texas knocking off Purdue. And I was just happy that Purdue lost.
Right.
I thought, man, how great is that Purdue, that one guy somewhere from 20 years ago, had a crappy day yesterday? I'm kidding. He's a nice guy, probably.
No, he's not.
He's probably not.
No.
Surely he grew up. I've told that story a couple of times before, but yeah, that's why I hate Purdue. It is attached to a girl that I dated from, 21 years ago, 20 years ago, something like that.
And you ain't got over it yet.
No. And you know what? I'll tell you this too. You know, I've talked about this on the podcast. I pick up shifts sometimes during the week over at False Idol Brewery a couple days a week. And there's this dude who comes in, wears Purdue gear, and
Does he
never
really?
tips.
Really?
So it's like just keeping my Purdue hatred alive. I was probably willing to let that one guy from 20 years ago go by the wayside.
Right.
But then maybe it's his dad is coming in and is ordering drinks and he goes, oh, and then he leaves nothingness. No, for real. Like he had a Purdue like hoodie thing on the other day and a Purdue hat. And obviously he's the guy that leaves you zero.
Really?
I was like, really Purdue guy. Huh. Tells you everything you need to know about Purdue.
I'm not mad at you, man. Not mad
So
at all.
other than that, I was just looking. It doesn't look like there's any upsets so far today from earlier on, the early games. Like Kansas was in it with Eastern Washington early on. And
Kansas
they
made the tournament.
Yeah, they're a 3 seed.
Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
I haven't paid attention to it. I had a long talk with my dad this morning about that.
Yeah.
My dad used to be a huge college basketball fan. I used to like college basketball. I was like, dude, I haven't even watched college basketball. I don't like it. I find it boring. The best players are in the NBA.
Fair
enough. They just are. And so, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know, man. For whatever reason, usually the tournament is the time of the year that I'll be around for it, but the days got kind of screwed up this year, and I had a lot going on yesterday where I wasn't able to. I might have caught the end of a couple of games, and that's about it.
Yeah, I had some time last night, so I watched Purdue go down, and that was amusing. When I started watching it, man, I started watching it early in the day when somebody said Florida is hanging on by 1 over Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And that's when I turned it on, and my guys came on after that. Then I left for the afternoon. Then I saw the beauty of having 3 TVs is I had 2 of them on, and I had the middle one watching the movie. So if something interesting happened, I just tilt my head and I keep it moving.
All right, fair enough. So you have that, and then for those of you live, this makes a lot of sense. But for those of you that will be listening to this later on, sorry for this. What do you want to drink? Because they're going to get us something.
Your legal stout.
You want which one? That one?
Yeah.
The Irish stout? The Irish car bomb? All right. Yeah. So do that. And then I'll just get, I don't know. I'd have to look at what they have right now. I guess whatever IPA is on, that is, what is that? Hazius Corpius, I think.
Sounds good to me.
I'll just do that. Yeah. So there you have it. And then people are like, that's such a random jump in the middle of a conversation when you're listening to this at home. Everybody here is like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I would like some more beers as well. But yeah, the NCAA tournament, I'm almost ashamed to say this. For the first time ever in the history of my life that I can recall, I did not do a bracket this year.
I didn't even think about a bracket.
And I don't know why.
Did y'all do a bracket?
A lot of people did, and we had some people that reached out because we did last year when we were on the radio. We had that big bracket challenge, and we were in there and all that, and that was awesome. For whatever reason, man, this one, I don't want to say it snuck up on me because I was aware that it was happening, but I just have stuff in my life and in your life for sure is so different now than where it was, where my schedule's so different. And I have all these different things going on that I'm doing now that I just wasn't thinking about it. Wasn't thinking for whatever reason. I didn't think about it. And somebody tweeted at me, he's like, hey, you still have time? I was like, oh yeah, I guess I do. I was like, I'll do it later. And I just didn't ever get around to it.
I just don't, I'd have been doing chalk or whatever just because.
I guarantee I would have picked North Texas.
Well,
because they were playing Purdue.
Personal reasons.
So I would have nailed that pick. I don't know. I wouldn't have picked Oral Roberts. There's no way. I don't know that unless you go there or you have some fascination with Oral that you would pick a 15 to beat a 2.
No, you wouldn't, but it happens often enough that you can't be shocked by it.
All right. Hey, look at this. Somebody on our YouTube live says they're getting the wings from Kroger later today.
How about that?
That's awesome. They're so good. I was going to go get some yesterday, and we ended up doing something else instead. I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. No, I had that dream. I told you I was going to get like 20 pounds. I had a dream last night that I had gotten all these pounds of wings, and somehow I magically had like multiple grills, which obviously I don't. I have a grill. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a cool dream that I had last night, though. Yeah, so there it is, little NCAA tournament for you guys. I don't know, for whatever reason, for the first time in my life, it just did not move the needle for me this year. And that's with, as we've talked about, the two teams that I tend to care about the most, Texas and Alabama. Alabama's playing right now. They just tipped. And, you know, Texas, I don't know what it is. Maybe if they make a run a little bit, I might jump in on a game down the line. But I haven't watched college basketball all year. It's just like you were saying, it doesn't really register to me anymore. I don't know why.
I'm not. I mean, if I find it, I find it, but I'm not out there searching for it. And check this out. The big part of the tournament used to be, we're going to take Thursday and Friday off. We're going to hang out.
Yep.
Everybody at home all the time anyway. So it's not even fun to take the day off.
Yeah, and I think
You're
that's
already
part of
working
it.
from home.
Yeah, you have. I did that once when I was younger. Me and my buddy Nick, we did that where we took off. I think it probably was the Friday before, the weekend, and then we had a 3-day weekend, and we went to, I believe it was Hooters, and we just hung out. And
exactly, that's what you're supposed to do when you got to go to work.
And that
take
was back
time for
when
the man.
I still believe that the waitress could possibly be into me, and like maybe if I order another pitcher that you actually are flirting with me because you like me and not because you want more money from me. Like when you're in your early 20s, you think every waitress that talks to you, oh my God, like, wait, watch this. She's probably going to give me her number. And then she gives you a number and you call it, and it's like one of those voicemails like, this number's been given to you by somebody.
Really?
Yeah, there's a couple of those lines out there.
Wow.
Or you call and it goes to some other person, and it's just really strange.
I'm unfamiliar with that entire experience.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't been in that realm in some time, but it used to happen like that. Like in my experience, it would be easier now from what I understand. My brother tells me about this. And those of you that are single, I don't know if anybody is, but it's one of those things where now you'll get the number from the girl or vice versa, and they'll call you or text you right in front of you to make sure that it's actually you.
Really? If I got to do all that, I ain't.
Well, because, maybe she gives you a fake number, so you go, hey, what, can I get your number? Hey, I'm going to send you a text real quick so you have mine. And then hey, show it to me so you know you got it.
That's whack.
I don't know, man. What do I know about any of this? That's how they say it's done. Oh. My brother goes, oh, yeah, you do it immediately. And that way they make sure you got it. He goes, they always give me their real number. Of course he would say that.
I give him my Google number.
That ass.
Somebody asked me that because I put my number out there on Twitter. I was trying to get somebody to call me back.
What's a Google number? Like,
said,
they call you
number.
Online?
No, it's anybody can do it. You go to Google and you can attach another number to your phone number. So the number I put out, it's the one on my business card.
Wow,
but it's the one I put out on Google. It's 682-514-9615.
So do they know that it ever attaches to your number or no?
Well, they do now. But yeah, but it's not my actual phone number.
They call that number and it connects to you, and they never know what your actual number is.
Correct.
Oh my God, I didn't know this was real.
But because I got a business, I use it for my business number. So when it calls, it says,
yeah. That's awesome.
I have my secretary answer the phone.
Right.
And she says, hey, Jacques is available or he's not available, or leave a message.
That I did not know that was a thing.
It's fantastic.
Makes sense that it would happen. I knew there were apps you could get where you could kind of do it like that, where you would just give a fake number and it goes through the app or whatever. If somebody tries to text you. Somebody tried to call me on the Alexa the other day.
How does
just
that
sitting
work?
on the couch and it was ringing like I had a call. And so I was like, what the heck? Like, I don't know anybody that would be calling me on the Alexa. So I answered it and there was nothing that's there. And then I wondered, did somebody hack into my house just now?
I don't know.
Yeah, stuff
I
like
don't
that.
know how that works.
Yeah, because you don't have any of those, do you? You don't like the smart speakers.
I'm working toward it, but no.
I don't know how.
It's too much technology.
Dude, I can't live. If I could automate my entire house, I would do it because I walk in and I have, Alexa lamp on, TV on, because you can connect all of it to smart plugs and then wire it through Alexa to where she controls everything.
That's too much.
Self-aware eventually.
That's why I say it's too much.
Like if I was super rich, it'd be Alexa, close the curtains, Alexa, make my bed, like whatever I could, Alexa, turn on the shower. I think you could probably automate pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing that with, certain types of robots now.
Stop.
Try to tell you about that once. You never want to have this conversation.
No, never interested. No.
Why would you be? You don't need that.
No.
$10,000? Trade in your second fridge?
No.
All right, so let's get into this next conversation before we do some questions from you guys that are hanging out here live. But I wanted to bring this up because, and I think if you listen to the podcast regularly, you are aware of my conundrum with Fox Sports Southwest and my refusal to mess with any of that. So I don't get to see, really, unless the Mavs are playing on national television and I actually happen to be home that evening, I never get to watch them.
Right.
A lot of the times used to be I would DVR the games off Fox Sports Southwest, and then I would not necessarily always watch them right then, but I would usually watch all the Mavs games. Well, since they've decided that they want to make it impossible for anybody who could possibly be a fan to have access to their games, I've helped them with that. And I've said, fine, you don't want me as a fan, fine.
Dude, last night they were on NBA TV and you couldn't watch.
Right. And so the thing
was,
was,
wow.
I didn't see the game last night, but I'm sure I would imagine and I hope that all you guys saw the highlights, because Luka had 2 passes last night that I've never seen. That I watched one of them 15 times, and it was the one where he's driving. He goes up to take a shot.
Yes.
And while he's in the air and he's shooting it, he shoots it backwards right to Hardaway Jr., who drains a 3. I've never seen anybody do that.
I watched that one about 10 times. Because I was trying to figure out what was going on.
That blew my mind. Like, he did that on purpose, knew Hardaway Jr. was right behind him, knew I'll go up and act like I'm taking a shot and just do this while I'm in the air, and it'll hit him perfectly.
That was amazing.
That's the greatest. I'm sure there are passes as great, but I don't know how you see a pass better than that one.
No.
His no-look one that he did, that he kicked out to, I think it was Kleba that ended up hitting the 3. That was sweet, but I've seen him do similar things to that.
That's more of a classic no-look.
Man, the one that he did where the only time I've ever seen anybody that made passes like that is, I obviously never saw Pistol Pete play. But I watched did you ever see that made-for-TV movie called Pistol Pete? And it was about Pete Maravich, and he was doing all these weird random things. And, he'd do it where he'd pass the ball behind his back off his elbow to a guy and stuff like that. I used to practice that. I watched that movie. I'd go out on my driveway and I'd practice doing stuff like that so I could try to do it if they ever let me play. And it was one of those things that he would do things. Pete Maravich did things that Luka does, but now somehow Luka does it and guys aren't getting hit in the face with the ball.
No, I think they understand the type of player. Pete Maravich was ahead of his time. Nobody was doing it. Now people try it, or people, are more inclined to do that. And so I think you have people just get used to it. Like, I bet you he's tried that before in practice or whatever, just tried it. And that's why, and see, the question is asked Hardaway, how did you catch it so clean? Because why weren't you expecting him to shoot it?
It has to be one of those things when you're around a guy like that and you're doing that many things in practice. I mean, we see him doing it in a game. You can only imagine what he does in practice.
He probably does 10 more things in practice to see if they work.
You finally, when you're on the court with somebody like that, you realize I have always got to be cognizant of where he is and where the ball is, because otherwise I am going to get hit in the face. And that's one of those things. And we used to see, like, Magic Johnson would make some passes like that from time to time back in the day. We've seen guys in the NBA who do that and their teammates aren't ready, but it seems like, at least at this point, 3 years in, that the Mavs, some of those passes, it's just no way Hardaway thought he's not shooting the ball. There's no way. He was shooting I still don't know how he had the ball in a shot form and then just immediately flipped it behind his head. It's the craziest thing I ever saw.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And same thing with the one to Maxey. Now, Maxey reset because he wanted to. He didn't have to. He did it again where he passed the ball and they didn't have to bring their hands down. They could have just shot the ball. Literally put the ball on a no-look pass right where the dude could shoot it. He's unbelievable,
It's the genius of Luka.
Guy's averaging 29 points a game, 9.5 assists, essentially 10 assists, and 9 rebounds. And the Mavs are 2 games over 500 after the loss last night. That was a tough one. They got Portland again tonight as we do this on a Saturday. And it's starting to get to the point, if they can get this one, I was looking at this, their next, I think it's either the next 5 or 6 in a row are against teams that are 500 or worse. So they've got a chance. If you knock off Portland, I mean, quite honestly, they're better than the next 5 teams they play. So they could get a 6-game win streak going, and then I believe it ends. They play Utah. Utah. It's like I'm saying Houston and Utah in the same sentence.
True.
They play Utah on April 5th, which will be the next time they play a team that's actually, probably
Good.
better than they are right now.
No, it's not panic time, but it's time to start making a move. They were hurt yesterday because Porzingis didn't play his good game.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave him a bad game. And, he can't afford to do that. He don't play all that much anyway. So when you play, you need to play good. And he didn't play good yesterday. He was a non-factor much of the game. And when he did turn it on, it just wasn't enough. I mean, Portland got 2 players. They both played good last night.
Yes, they did. They
The
played very
Mavericks
good.
got 2 players. One played good, one didn't.
Yeah, that's true. And you ended up losing by whatever it was, by 6 points. And it's one of those things. I mean, I thought the first loss to the Clippers, and they bounced back and really had a nice performance. And you could tell you really got that playoff type vibe.
Right.
And now they've got to do that with Portland. I mean, Portland's ahead of them in the standings. The Mavs have, I believe I think it's 30 games left, 31 games left. And you're sitting there, you're in the 8th spot, essentially tied with Golden State. You're 3.5 back of the 5th seed, which is where, I think Denver and Portland are both tied for the 5th seed. So you're looking at that and you're going, okay, I mean, if you want to move up, you got to win. Like, this is a game, you got to figure out how to get this game tonight, get a game back on Portland. They own the season tiebreaker with a couple of these guys ahead of them. They don't against a couple of the guys ahead of them. It's going to be interesting because, as you've said many times, really the last thing you want to do is end up as the 7 or 8. If you can get to 5 or 6, I like it. And maybe they can finally, because people forget this. We brought it up last year. The Mavs haven't been out of the first round since the title year in 2011.
And if they get that 7-8, it's going to be one more year.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's where they're at. And you see some of that in some of these games lately. And again, I haven't been able to watch all of them. I saw ESPN had one like a week ago or whatever that I was able to DVR and watch.
Right.
So I'm watching ridiculous amounts of highlights and reading articles from Townsend and Cato and guys like that. But, I still, at some point, you would think Fox Sports would just figure this out. You would just think they would. Like, oh, wow, I bet. Because, and I think I talked about this, where are the advertisers in this? Are the advertisers not going, wow, your numbers are way the hell down? Because you don't have your station on anything. And then Fox Sports goes, wow, we can't charge as much for advertising. Hey, Sinclair, man, we need to work something out here.
Maybe that's the end of the deal conversation. I don't know they may already have their money.
Well, I don't like it. It's frustrating.
Nobody likes
I'm sure some of you guys out there got to be thinking the same thing. I mean, I don't want to jump through. I'm at a point now where, honestly, I was thinking about this the other night. I might just cancel YouTube TV. I mean, I mainly had it so for the DVR capabilities so I could get all these different games and watch that stuff. We don't really ever watch anything now because I don't have those local teams. It's not college football season. I can't DVR it, but I could get, if I wanted to watch the tournament, I can watch CBS on bunny ears for free. So those main stations, I mean, I've done that before when our power went out one time. We were trying to watch a game. I have a set of bunny ears. I pick up something like 20-something channels. So why am I so tied in to drop in $60-65 a month when you can't give me as a consumer what I'm paying you to friggin' give me?
You're not wrong.
I know, and I'm heated about this a little bit.
Yes, I see.
I'm just at a point where, and then I got this thing in the mail. Do any of you guys use Spectrum as a stream service? Because I got this thing in the mail from Spectrum where if I bundle it with my internet, that I can stream their thing for like $25 a month. So I might just get rid of YouTube and try that and see what it does.
I do have Spectrum internet.
Right, but Spectrum Stream TV still doesn't have Fox Sports Southwest.
Right.
And I'm not going to move services and pay $100 and whatever dollars just because I want to watch Mavs games.
I feel you, dog. Except I watch them on IPTV.
I know. I still can't wrap my head around exactly how that's legal.
It's not for me to wrap my head around.
I'm just saying. I don't
Because
know.
I keep telling you, and Matt won't pay attention to me. I keep telling you, he keeps wondering about the legality. If you have an LG TV, which is not some off-brand, it has an app on it. So if it got an app on the TV, damn it, it's legal to me.
Yeah, but you have to have a box for that, right? Didn't you say that like the box costs whatever, then you pay like super cheap a month? Like, don't you have like a cable box type thing? Like, how do you access to the IP thing? Just over the internet or what?
Just
okay,
like
there
that.
it is right there. Well, how much is it? Like, how does that? I mean, I just don't.
It's $20 a month.
How is that a thing?
See, you're thinking too much.
Maybe
Just do
I
it.
am. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when I was in college and I was
Napster.
downloading 15,000 songs a day going, man, how is this legal? Like this,
Hey, man.
And then guess what? Like 5 years later, people are going to prison.
Were you one of them?
No, but
It's always the people who provided.
they are
man.
putting people in prison for downloading songs. And I'm like, oh, I kind of thought maybe that was illegal.
Nope. There haven't been. Hey, man.
That's what I'm afraid IPTV is going to turn into. Like 5 years now, we have to do
Well,
our
then I'll get
podcast
rid
with
of
you
it.
on the other side of like a plastic thing. I'm like, Chuck,
No,
tried
I have
to tell
enough
you.
money to get a good attorney to get out.
I know. You do. So it'll be some other guy.
Yeah, but it won't be me.
I hope not.
Sucks for them.
It does, because I don't know if prisons have good Wi-Fi to do podcasting from.
No.
If they did, we could do podcasts with prison inmates. That'd be awesome. It'd be like a live version of Oz. Some guy would hand us a spoon. We'd be like, oh man, this is bad. You guys like, what? Never saw that episode? It's worth it. Oz is really good. Oz is old school, but it's really, really good. So that pretty much wraps up what we wanted to get into today as we approach the hour and a half mark. But we are going to hang for about another half hour or so, hang out with you guys that are here and on YouTube live as well. So if you want to get another beer, grab another beer. We have our beers, and we're going to do some Q&A. If you guys have questions about whatever it may be. I mean, it's about the show, about us, the Cowboys, sports, our opinions on whatever it is. Feel free to shoot them at us right now. You can raise your hand, scream them out, yell them out. We have T-shirts that we brought that we will be selling those over there, $20. That's the cool thing about this is you don't have to pay shipping and handling, which is weird because we're still handling them. But they're $20. Yeah, what's up? What do you have? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Yeah, I can figure that out somehow. Yeah, but we have, like, if you don't have cash, we can do Venmo, and we have Zelle, and we have PayPal.
Cash App. We got pretty much
we have a
everything.
variety of different ways to do it that we didn't have last time because now we're way more professional.
Yeah.
So it works out a lot better for everybody. Anybody else? What's on your mind? Let us know.
I have a loaded question, but so I noticed the past 2 years, the Cowboys have led the league in drops by receivers. And so do you think that's something to do with the system that they've put on offense under Kellen Moore, or maybe the receivers they've got? Or?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, because Amari Cooper, that's something that last year especially, I think it's a combination, and I'll be honest, I mean, it's true that Dak is not always pinpoint accuracy. My thing has always been that if you have hands to play in the NFL, you got to catch the ball if it hits you in the hands, So for whatever reason, I don't know what it is in the last couple of years, especially last year. I mean, they dropped all kinds of – not just from Dak, obviously. I mean, they were dropping it when Dalton was in there. You see guys that are wide open, and the ball go right through their hands. So I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a technique thing, a wide receiver thing.
I think it's just I think last year was a focus thing and what your defense is, which is garbage. And so everybody's trying to make a big play. And so a lot of times you try to run it before you catch it or make a play before you really secure it. But the receiver core is good. I mean, CeeDee Lamb dropped a lot of passes. I wouldn't expect him to drop that many passes this year.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So kind of, I guess, two-part question. JKT, you've been here for a long time. Matt, kind of knew, we heard you fangirl out a couple of years ago in California. But was there anybody that you met through business that you were just like, man, this is like, some of you're good pals with Dion. But was there anybody that you met and were like, oh my God, this is, fill in the blank? Or you just kind of complicated, you're
There has to be somebody.
I'm trying to think.
Like Dorsett or somebody, maybe.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a good way. Like, it's not the current guys that get me. It's, it's the guys I grew up watching, like Tony Dorsett and Roger Staubach. Me and Drew Pearson are pretty good friends now. That's always good. Robert Newhouse was my guy before he died. I mean, he's like one of my boys. And so those are all the guys that really like, that I meet.
I don't know. Like,
No, but I'm not. I mean, the reality of it is at the moment when I showed up covering the Cowboys in 1995, Troy, Emmett, and Michael and Deion were as big as it really gets. And so once you're exposed to them on a regular basis, everybody else is just their star doesn't shine quite as bright because you've been exposed to the brightest of the bright stars. I mean, you're hanging around talking to Jerry and Michael and Troy and all those guys all the time. So anybody else you meet in the NFL is like, yo, what's up, dog? I mean, it's the reason why even today I tell people who get upset with me from time to time, like Dez Bryant, like, dog, I've been cussed out by far better players than you. I mean, what you got to say don't really bother me all that much. And it's because those guys were such mega stars when I first got started that, nobody, and, when I was covering the Mavericks from here and there as a columnist, I never sat down with Kobe or LeBron or anybody else who might have had some kind of effect on me.
Like, did you never have, like, when you very first were covering the Cowboys, like very first time you walk in the locker room? But see, you had been doing some other things as well.
But just a little bit. No, when you first walk in there, no, you like everybody else. You just like, wow, this is Troy and Emmett and Michael.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Okay, yeah.
But then as soon as they get mad at you the first time, you forget about all of that. And you got to remember at that particular time, seriously, we were all the same age. I mean, we're all 25, 26, 27. And so it's not like you're 25 or you're 22 and you meet them and they're 30 and you feel like there's this big age group. And so we were more like peers than we were anything once you get to know them. And, and I always had good relationships with them anyway. So it was not really, and I was trying to think, Troy was always Troy. The Troy that you see on TV is really the Troy that you get. So Troy was always very approachable and easy to work with. The Michael that you see anywhere and everywhere is the Michael that you always get. So obviously he's easy to talk to. And back in the day, Emmett was pretty moody. So you could get a good Emmett or you could get a bad Emmett. And so that was always we'll see what we get today.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, he's mellowed quite a bit, but then it was kind of, we'll see what we get. So that could be a little shady. And then, Deion, I've told this story a lot lately because I've been working a lot with him lately. I can't remember. I probably told this on the podcast the other day. Me and Deion got to be cool because in 96 or 97, I can never remember which year, he was leading the league in punt returns and he wasn't talking to the media. I mean, he would talk after games and he might talk once every 3 or 4 weeks. And so I saw him in the locker room one day and I went over and I said, hey, you're leading the league in punt returns. I thought you might want to throw some shine on all the guys blocking for you. He's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. So I talked to him, wrote the story, came back, gave him the story, and then turned around and left. And then a couple of days later, he saw me. He's like, hey, that was a really good story. I got you if you need anything. And so it kind of started from that. And then I would try to do more stories like that because I found out Deion didn't like being the focal point of stories. So if you were doing a story about the secondary and you said, hey, I want to talk about these other cats, can I talk to you? He'd be like, yeah. If you said you want to talk to him, he'd be like, I got no time. So once I figured that out, I just started doing these big picture stories where he was just a voice and they weren't about him. Then I'd give it to him, say, yo, here's what I wrote. If you got something to say, say it. If you don't, it's not. And just over the course of time, we just kind of forged a real relationship. And then I was down in Jackson a couple weeks ago and we were talking, and I don't know how this subject came up, but he was like, the one thing about you, man, is you've been consistent the whole time I've known you. it's always been consistent. Your writing's consistent. Our conversations are consistent. You never change. It's always the same. And I go, is that a good thing? He goes, yeah, because I don't have to, you just who you are. You're real. And so I was like, all right, I mean, I'm just being me, dog. If it's good enough, it's good enough. If it ain't, it ain't. And that's how I've been able to survive in the business. I ain't never catered to athletes. We deal with each other on a one-on-one basis. And just because you got more money than me doesn't make you a better man than me. I'm as good at my job as you are at yours. And that's probably why people think I'm arrogant.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because obviously mine was totally different. I mean, I remember when I got hired on at the ticket in 2009, the first time I was in the Cowboys locker room, I was like, damn, like this is like, I mean, growing up as a Cowboys fan, that was pretty awesome. But then I think part of it is even being the fan that I am, I mean, you are there to do a job. And so you have to do the job that you were there to do or you'll never get to go in there again. So
right.
I don't know. That kind of there are times where never really with the Cowboys was I annoyed. It was more with the Rangers that I found the most annoying of certain guys that would purposely drag out your time and delay your ability to do things to where it just would be like, man, like this is, yes, it's cool. You're in the locker room. There's whoever right there. But my God, dude, like, can we, and they do it on purpose. Some of them did it on purpose where they'd, you can't just go anywhere you want as the media. And so they'd go in areas where you could. And you're like, oh, well, you hit the game-winning home run tonight. I really need to get audio. Or they're going to be like, well, why'd you bring this back? Like, we can't even use this. Like, who cares for the – seriously, like, why – so you'd stand around for an hour after the game, and then finally maybe they'd come out, and then it becomes nothingness. And you're like, cool, awesome. That was – thanks so much, dude.
Now, Matt had a good time talking to Jason Witten. I mean, that was his guy. And he met him at the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
I mean –
what?
You go, I know, but you're like, he has your jersey. You're the only jersey he owns. I'm like, oh my God. And he just looks at me and I'm like,
Witten was very complimentary.
No. You want to know the best story ever? I don't know if I've told this on the podcast or not. I don't think I have, but now I'm going to. So
I wonder if this is approved.
No. So my brother is a golf pro and is one of the guys over at Marido, which is now like one of these premier, like super nice golf courses in the DFW area. Marty Turco is a member there, and he's gotten to be actually like really good friends with Turco. And so for my brother, when he got married about a year and a half ago, his present to the groomsmen and guys in his wedding, Turco hooked him up with a suite at a Stars game. So we're all at this suite. Me being fan Matt doesn't realize that we're doing a try to look cool night. I'm wearing my Stars gear. I have my Stars hat on. I have my Haskinen on. And then my brother's like, dude, this is going to be weird because Turco and Morrow are going to come by. And I mean, we'd interviewed Morrow, and I used to work for the Stars, so I've been around Morrow a few times, but I was like, I doubt he remembers me. Now, to be fair, again, we're at a bachelor party type atmosphere.
Right.
I've had a few beers.
Just a few.
Turco and Morrow come over. And I end up, you thought it was bad with Witten. I end up having this conversation with Brendan Morrow where I tell him, if I played hockey, I would play just like you.
Oh, you were that guy.
And then, you can tell he's looking at me and I'm like, yeah, man, I played some, just rec league, but I played rec league hockey. Same thing, dude. I would stand in front of the net. And that's where I got a lot of my goals too, man. So, I have a lot of respect for your game. And I bet he had to be looking at me like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then later, I'm like, why did I do this? Why was I that guy?
You were trying to bond, man.
So I learned that night, never have a conversation with a pro athlete after drinking. Just walk the other direction. Because I was like, man, and I love Brendan Morrow. I mean, he was like Witten, like he's my favorite hockey player.
Is that right? He was my guy too.
But why would you say anything like that to him? Like, he had to be thinking, this guy, this jackass. I was probably like, do you listen to my show? I love you, man. Anybody else? Any other questions tonight? Could be about anything. Yes, sir.
Yeah, now here's the question. You put an S on it. I don't know that he's getting a lot.
Plural, yeah.
But
I don't
you know,
know,
at the FCS level, one is like 2 or 3. But I think he will get players that most people didn't think he'd have a chance to get because now this is just me. Why do you play big time college football? To win a national championship and to go to the league. So there's only a couple cats, you know, going to the. I mean, if you're not playing at Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, the odds of you winning the national championship is slim. So if you put that in the equation, you know the scouts are coming to Jackson State. It's a chance to go play. They're going to be the highest profile FCS team out there. And so for a certain number of players, it's going to be a good option because, and don't underestimate this at all. When the NCAA or the laws go and you can start making money off your own likeness, the difference is Deion is telling guys, I'm not trying to make any money off you. I got money. Let me show you how to make money. I'm going to set things up for you. There's going to be a certain element of player that's going to be intrigued by that. And then there's something else I think that you should probably look at from a Jackson State and Deion perspective. You know, what did Deion do that was so special? He played 2 sports. You know, there's a lot of athletes out here who would love to play 2 sports. And what happens? Hey, Matt, I'd like to play 2 sports in Texas. Can I? Nope. We need you full time. What if Deion tells people, hey, I'd like to play football and basketball. Okay. We just got you for football. Football season, no, play as much basketball as you want to. I'd like to play football and baseball. Okay, I did that. Why can't you do that? And so when you open up that door and tell people, instead of saying, we need you, all your time, all your effort, all your energy, nah, play for us, ball out, go play baseball, ball out, or something else. I think you'll see some athletes that might not have taken that go, I want to do both. Why are you making me do one? But his best asset to me is he gets people to believe they can do things they didn't believe they could do. And that's a powerful tool. And I'm not just talking about football. He'll make you think, why can't you be a businessman? Why can't you be an entrepreneur? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? And he'll give you a sense of belief and have you doing stuff you didn't think you could do.
Goes a long way.
Yeah,
I'll believe it.
I think it's going to be
when I
real
see
successful
it.
down there.
I don't know. 5-star, 4-star makes a lot of sense. I mean, he can get 4 stars for sure. 5-star is interesting.
5-star, see,
Because there's only, I mean, in any given class, there's 25, 35 stars.
yeah, like, and
Bama's going to take 5 of them.
right? They're not for everybody, but there's somebody out there who'll be like,
Yeah, I could see that.
especially if you're talking cornerback. There's some
Yeah, like some
5-star
elite
corner
guy
who's
that-
going to be
yeah.
like, or just like, check this out, just like Patrick Surtain, okay? Maybe he was a 5-star coming out. His daddy got money. So it's not always about, you know, I got to go get the
makes sense.
league and
Yeah.
take care of my family. His daddy got money. Or like Ohio State got a star receiver whose dad is a president of Fortune 500 company. He got money. So getting to the league and taking care of my family is not what it's all about. So the players like that, I can see them going, I want that experience. Or some cats would be like, I would like the HBCU unapologetically black experience. And that's a whole different thing than when you, like me, go to Ohio State and you're in a class with 600 people and there's 5 black folks in there, you know? Or, you know, you got to walk around campus looking for black folks. Some people don't want to do that. So for a small percentage, he's going to be an option if you think I can go here and get to the league. And I'm just going to say this because it's true. If he can get somebody drafted in the next couple of years, then it becomes it's not just me talking,
No
it's
doubt,
a reality. And then, you know, then it's going to be a whole lot of cats.
Yeah,
And the last thing about that
makes
is,
sense.
okay, he didn't get the 5-star out of school. He signed with Alabama. They don't all work. The transfer portal is real now. Okay, once you done had your signing day, and once you done been through that year at Ohio State or Michigan or Clemson or whatever, okay, I don't need the pomp of circumstance. Now I need to go play. Oh, Deion Sanders just hit me up in the transfer portal. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go there.
Makes sense. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Ooh.
I just found a new one.
Ooh. What?
Mr. Mercedes. Look at that weird look on your face.
Well, I never heard of it. I just like, what is that?
I said I found it.
On
It's
what?
on the little cock. Peacock. What are you talking about?
Okay, so you don't have a question about you were riding in a car with some woman for 30 miles as a high school kid, but that's a joke you can make.
Well, I didn't come up with it.
All right.
That's what people call it.
Do they really?
You called it that on the show.
I did?
Yes.
Huh.
So you're so
Must be
vulgar, you
genius.
don't even recognize your own vulgarisms.
It's probably true.
Now, it's based, I found out, on a book written by Stephen King.
Oh, it's
And
a show.
And it's directed by David Kelly, who I seem to know that name from something. And it's about an older dude, like in his 60s, retired cop.
Brendan Gleeson, who's been in a bunch of stuff. He was
I
in
ain't never
Braveheart.
heard him. I ain't never
He was
seen
in
him.
Gangs of New York.
Oh, was he the dude from Braveheart? Is that
Yeah,
who
he
that
played
is?
Hamish. Yeah.
Well, as soon as you said that, I go, that's who he looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know who he is.
Yeah.
He plays this retired police detective who's been tormented by this one case he can't solve, which is a guy who drove through a crowd of people and left all these people killed, and they've never been able to solve it. And this guy, serial killer, starts taunting him through his computer and stuff like that. And it's all about the chase to get this guy. But it's interesting.
It sounds
It's
good.
episodic.
So apparently it was the source material was a trilogy of novels by Stephen King. And this is based on those books. Like you said, David E. Kelly developed it. Interesting. On the Peacock.
Yeah, but it's good.
3 seasons, 30 episodes. Huh.
I just found it
Well,
the other day because the only reason I'm on the Peacock is I listen to Dan Patrick's show because that's the only sports talk radio I really enjoy.
the Lieutenant Governor?
Stop it. And so I listened to Dan Patrick's show,
He had a talk radio show at one point.
and I was scrolling through it, and I saw this, and it had a good cover on it. And so I just looked at it one day. I go, oh, I like serial killer shows. So here I am.
Yeah, we watched yesterday that movie on Netflix, Yes Day, with Jennifer Garner, where for 24
Is that really
hours.
good? That seems dumb to me.
Problem is when
Whose
you watch
idea was
it,
it to watch it?
who it might have been a certain 10-year-old little boy
Oh, okay.
who
I'm sure it was a
now
fine idea.
has it that
he
Yes
thinks
Day
it
is a
should be
thing,
Yes Day?
and that Yes Days could actually happen.
Oh,
And I thought, well, this doesn't make any sense. Now, I will say, I thought for the first 30-ish minutes it was working,
right.
but then it just got to a point where, like, for instance, I'm not ruining the movie by saying this. They wanted to go to the car. We want to go to the car wash, get the car wash. Yes. But with the windows down, like, why? Nobody would do that.
No.
The water would cut you. Like, what if the
bet it
towel
just
thing
ruined
whipped
your
you in the
car.
face while you're in the car and your kid loses an eye?
Yeah. Right.
What if you lose an eye? And they're like, I don't want you to go to the hospital. Oh, okay, yes. I mean, where's it end? So I thought it would be better than it was. It started out like it was going to be strong.
It sounded dumb from the start.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but if you have kids, obviously, I think for a certain age, I mean, obviously he enjoyed it and now thinks it.
Yeah.
Now is convinced that if someday will be Yes Day.
Oh yeah. From a
you know what? You know when Yes Day comes? When you're the parent and you say
No.
yes all the time to whatever you want
Right.
to do.
That's why I used to buy Apple Jacks. I used to buy Apple Jacks because my mom would never buy Apple Jacks. It was always Rice Krispies and corn
Yeah,
flakes.
and you know what's interesting is I'm trying to figure out the next show that the one that you told me about. I think we're gonna check that out, and then also the one, yeah. And then there's that other one where because we're about to wrap up Mad Men, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I never paid any attention to The Crown on Netflix.
Dude,
but then the other day,
I don't want to watch it.
I watched the preview for it, and I was like, this actually looks like it might be legitimately fairly good.
Yeah, it looks too slow and too staid and too British proper.
Well, I mean, it is about
The Crown.
so
No,
yeah.
you're gonna have to watch
Oh, I'm
it. I need
sure
some
it is.
violence and some sex in it.
Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I was trying to think. I'm waiting. Like Ozark is supposed to be coming back around at some point. You know, like all they do is they show you that little preview on Netflix. Oh, a new season's on the way. Great. When is it? I get the pandemic happened. You know, bubble these people and give it to me.
True that.
I don't know what to tell you. And then Falcon Winter Soldier, we saw episode 1 last night, and I don't know what to make of that. I thought WandaVision was genius. Like I thought it was just next level, elite, brilliant television. And Falcon Winter Soldier was not that.
Have you seen The Sinner?
The TV show, The Sinner.
Yeah,
I've seen a preview for it. I've never
that's
watched
pretty
it.
good
All right. Maybe I'll check that out.
for a regular. Because I think it came on USA, but it's actually pretty good.
Oh, it's like that show Imposters that I think was originally on USA, and now it's on
I
Netflix.
saw that. That was good.
Yeah. That was good.
I saw that a while back, but yeah,
Yeah.
The Sinner's pretty good.
All right. Yeah, so there's something. I want to see, I think I talked about on the podcast, that movie Greenland with the comet and the end of the world. I don't know why. I just want to see that.
Okay.
I go through, there was something else I was trying to think, because I go through on Prime a lot and just watch trailers, you know, and just figure out, like, do I want to watch this? Do I want to see this movie or not? And so that's where I discovered that one. But man, I think it seems like we watched something the other night, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, other than Yes Day, which you must have children to watch. If you don't, you will hate it. Yeah, it's not. Although there's a great capture the flag battle in it.
All right, I'm down with that.
But then I wonder, how'd they get these clothes where they all match? Is this a thing? I would love to play adult capture the flag. They throw Kool-Aid balloons at each other. We used to do that when I was a kid in high school. I had this buddy that had all his property, and we would play capture the flag, and we would use flour bombs, or we would
Really?
put flour in a sock, and we would all wear black. Oh, we would camp out overnight and play capture the flag. In the middle of the night, you could capture somebody from the other team and like hold them hostage. It was wild. And you would just
Okay,
like
we need to hear more
throw
about
flour
that.
in his face. Where's your flag? Where's your flag? Like, I don't know.
How many people are playing?
Oh, we would get it. It was probably like 6-on-6. 7-on-7 was like the best we could get.
All right, and so how does this work?
Well, so is my buddy Phil, and he lived out in like where I grew up out in Heath, and his family just had like a chunk of land. Like they must have been like, I don't know, 9 acres or whatever.
Right.
And so like back behind his house was all these woods and stuff. And we would meet up around dusk and we would say, okay, here's the teams. Everybody's wearing black. And here's, you know, if you show up and obviously if you get hit with flour, you've been hit and you can't play anymore. You're out. You've been sniped or whatever. And so we would hide each team's flag in a whatever part of the property. And we go around and stay up all night. And we'd have a tent where if you got tired, you could sleep. And
Really?
we would wander around the property looking for the other team's flag. We had walkie-talkies and stuff. It was awesome.
How old are y'all?
Like 16,
That's
17.
a perfect age for that.
That's what I never partied or drank when I was younger. I did that. And then I did scavenger hunts, which I talked about before.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing one around Dallas.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was fun. I don't know why. I never did anything bad in high school. I didn't really do anything bad in college until I turned 21 and then became obviously look at me now. I went off the deep end at some point, but yeah, I don't know. I found I was into theater and stuff, so I was so theatrical, but yeah, like that was awesome. I mean, we had some epic games where we would literally play all through the night. And then when the sun would come up, you'd see, okay, are you like, basically if you got hit with flour somehow, like we would all carry like a sock, like a weapon that you could whip somebody with that would give you flour. And then we had like sock grenades for flour. And if you showed up the next morning, if you got flour on you, which you could usually see, even in the dark, you had to go to a certain tent where you're out of the game and you could crash and sleep or whatever. And so the next morning, if you had flour on you and you weren't in the tent, then we knew you had cheated. And that was the creativity of, random country kid out in Rockwall.
That's insane.
Heath, really. I grew up in Heath and Rockwall. Yeah, so that was a long ass answer to your question. It took a weird random turn.
That's how our show does.
What
Weird
else,
random
guys?
turns.
Anybody else? What should we talk about? What's on your mind? It could be anything.
I got another quick one. So you said you play FIFA before bed.
Yeah.
Do you like to? What team do you play? Like, do you pick like the best team so you can get away before bed, so you feel good about yourself? Or?
No, that's typically Matt's approach.
That's what I do.
No, I like to. Okay.
I mean,
my
so
video.
what? It's fun.
My video gaming rules are I don't play with anybody but myself because I'm not interested in competing. I'm interested in relaxing. And then I typically play career mode. I typically take a sorry team and try to get them to a certain level. And I just now, and then I start off very easy, like Matt, except I progressively make it harder and harder. Like when you start off, I started off playing rookie because you learn how to play. And I didn't move to the next level till I had turned up all the ratings on rookie and I made the goalies 100 and I was still winning. Okay, fine, I've done this. Now to the next level. And then I'm always in search of the never-ending quest to make it just competitive enough that I have to work very hard, but that I can typically win. But that doesn't always work itself out.
So you like to win like 1-0, 2-1, whatever.
Yeah, I like to feel like I earned
Yeah.
it. And I don't mind an occasional
If I played
blowout.
FIFA, I'd want to win like 11-0.
Yeah, but I ain't trying to do that. That ain't no
Yeah.
fun to me.
would
Unless it
just-
happens every now and then.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But that's
just
see, the video games becoming fantastic when they allowed you to change the sliders so that you can make it whatever
Right,
you want to
yeah.
make it. You can make it as hard as you want to make it. You can make it as easy as what you want to make it. And I don't know what they cost now, $60. I always feel like I get more than my $60 worth.
Yeah, I feel that way. I don't remember the last time I bought a brand new video game. I usually get it, like even Madden, I'll get the year after it comes out, and I'll get it for half of what it probably was new. But I don't even update my Madden. I think right now I have Madden 19.
Yeah, it's about the edge.
Yeah,
Now,
so like maybe
y'all got a
every 3 years or
PS5?
so.
Who's got PS5?
They're like, we're trying to get a second fridge. God, calm down.
I ain't got a PS5.
I don't either, but I would love to get one. College football changed that. We talked about that.
See,
Like,
I had
that's-
the hookup at Christmas, and I was like, "No, I don't want one because I'm fine playing FIFA on this." And then
Yeah, you
college
just gotta
football
wait,
came
yeah.
out. I called the plug back. Hey, can I get one? They're like, all gone. I will hit you up upon my
It'll
next
come back around.
availability.
It'll come back around some point.
Yeah.
So on the live, whatever, the YouTube live, somebody says, you guys on a station in Dallas, which, yeah, I mean, we do Sundays on the ticket. We'll be on tomorrow, noon to 3, which is pretty much every week, but up, down again. Just hold on to it.
Yeah,
God, you're
that
breaking
really fell
those.
apart.
No, but it's, people ask me this. Somebody else on Instagram this week was like, hey, are you guys going to get a radio show again?
Let me see the answer to this. What is the answer to that, Matt?
I said, I mean, really my answer was, well, we're focused on the podcast right now, which is true. I mean, it's hard. What we do with the podcast is so much more freedom and ability to do what we really want to do and focus on what we like to do and do it however we want to do. I mean-
Matt ain't really interested in having no radio show. We got to listen to bosses again. And see, let me tell y'all why that works. See, that works because I ain't working for nobody else again. I just ain't doing it. Just ain't doing it because I enjoy working for myself. And I have found I can make more money working for myself than I can working for the man. So I'm not interested in working for anybody. And Matt, now this is true. I'm not speaking out of turn. Matt's a minimalist, so he don't need no whole lot of money anyway. He need enough money to pay his bills, go on a vacation, and drink his beer. If he got that covered, Matt is cool. We could do that with a few more endorsements on the podcast. We could do that.
That's true.
And so Matt will be cool, and I ain't working for nobody else. So
Yeah, and I like the idea that we can do this wherever we go.
I ain't working for nobody else.
You were in Vegas and we did it, and I've been out
Right.
of town and we've done the podcast, and I like that aspect of it. And radio, which I love radio, but I mean, reality of it is, to your point, like a lot of people think we just show up and you walk into the studio and you do the show, and that's not how it works. We would have meetings. We have, for the most part, you have freedom on terrestrial radio, but there's still a structure that you are expected to work within. defined by somebody else. And so with this format, that doesn't happen. We define the structure. It's however, which one of the things I love about the podcast is some of the random ass tangents that we go off on where we can explore that more so where you have momentum of this is a really good conversation versus having somebody in your ear on the radio going, get back to the topic, get back to the topic, back to the topic, that type of thing, you know, or hey, wrap, go to break where, well, this is a great conversation. Go to break. And you have to do that. And then by that time, it's such a different world that ideally, if to your point, if we could make it financially work, I much prefer this format and the freedom that it allows us to have creatively, especially, which I always loved about radio anyway. It was the creative freedom that it gave you. But at the highest levels, I mean, you're always still, I mean, you know that. We had a meeting at least once a month, if not more often, with people that were above us. You have sales guys that are hitting you up, you know, needs you to this, and all. I mean, they still hit you up for certain things, but it's just one of those things, man. I mean, it becomes the podcasting format is so freeing. And I think it really is. There's so much more of them out there. There's some that are really well done. I think ours production wise is really well done. I mean, our content, we believe in what we're doing, obviously, but
right.
From a production standpoint and the way that it sounds and the way you guys consume it, I think is really well presented, which I think is part of the battle. So there's the answer to that. The other one, this dude, how do you keep your weight after drinking beer? I will tell you this, and Jacques knows, I work out a lot and I am not ripped solely so I can continue to drink beer.
No, this is true. That's what he does.
No, and it's one of those things where I do drink a lot of beer. I mean, I'm conscious of it. Like people joke sometimes, like I've had people go like, man, you sound like an alcoholic the way you talk about beer. I'm not. I don't have a problem drinking. I enjoy, as most of you know, I love craft beer. It's a passion of mine. I really enjoy it. And I do consume a lot of beer. I don't drink every day. I think that a lot of people probably think I do. I don't. Now I may have a beer 5 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever it is. But I mean, there is reality. I mean, I have my home set up and I do some really intense workouts with the idea of I want to maintain myself at a certain level. I don't care about having abs or being ripped or anything, but at the same time, I want to try and be healthy and really, like all I drink is water or beer, sometimes tea. Like I don't consume anything else liquid wise. That's it. I mean, literally, that's all I drink is water.
You eat pretty healthy.
Yeah, and I eat, for the most part, I eat fairly healthy. So beer is like my one thing where, I don't know, man, I just love it.
It's okay, though.
I was thinking about this the other day. Will there be a point in my life where I'm just like, maybe I should just not drink ever?
No.
I don't know. I think not.
No.
Because there's so many great beers out there. I mean, the DFW beer scene, like Legal Draft, this is a great place. I mean, they have this great space. It's built really nicely where you can come in and do things like this. Great patio. It's quality beer. There's a lot of really high quality beer being brewed in Dallas-Fort Worth. And part of it, I picked a couple. I mean, one, because False Idol obviously does a lot with us, is helping me out. I'm really good friends with the guys that run that place. And then Celestial in Dallas in the medical district. Those are the two where I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and get like at least sample everything they put out. But I mean, outside of that, it's impossible. For real. I mean, False Idol, I was there on Tuesday. I did a trivia on Thursday. And when I showed up on Thursday night to do trivia, within 48 hours, I had 4 new beers. Okay. So I happened to be there Thursday so I could try them. There, you know, Turning Point does that. Celestial does that a lot. Martin House obviously is putting out a lot of new beers. There's so many breweries that are doing stuff like that. I mean, you can't have all the beer in Dallas. It's impossible. You can't even have all the beer from 5 breweries.
You know?
So that's how I do it. I try to work out 4 or 5 days a week. I run. I don't know. I just do stuff to try and at least maintain. Yeah, maintain more than anything. Which is really weird because it's not like I'm like, oh, yeah, look at me. Like, I don't care really what I look like. I just don't want to die.
Right.
I'm like, oh, my God, is my liver okay? But it is. It's fine.
You want a quality of life.
But you know how it is. Like, for those of you that are craft beer drinkers, I mean, you get into it, and which I think is really interesting, like the difference between me and you. Like, Jacques will have a beer now. Like, you'll drink a full beer, and it tires you, and that's just not, like, for whatever reason. And me, I can drink If I'm drinking beer, I could drink 7, 8 craft beers and function and be fine. Now, am I feeling it? Yes, but you talk to me would have no idea that I was any different than I was before I started.
If I drink 1 over 10%, I'm going to sleep.
But I guess like my body tolerance is just, that's what it is. Now, if you introduce liquor or something like that, like if I were to drink 2 or 3 beers and then drink a couple of old fashions, I would really feel it and you would notice a difference in me, which is why I rarely ever drink anything other than beer anymore.
But I've got a fridge stocked with them. The
Yeah,
Lovely
you do.
Lorraine is like, what are you doing?
Sorry.
I mean, they take up like 2 shelves.
I know you said at one point you had 53 beers in your beer fridge, and I was mad because that was more than me at the time.
Yeah, I probably got.
I was like, oh my God, dude, how'd that happen?
I probably got that many because some of them I like, and so I may buy 2 or 3 of them. See, Matt doesn't know this. I went looking for something for the Lovely Lorraine last night, and I saw the 9. What's the 903 we had a couple weeks ago? That was great.
Oh, Fragile Like a Bomb. That's
I found
stout,
that
yeah.
one, so I've just bought one of those.
Yeah, that was really good.
But they had another chocolate strawberry stout.
Yeah, their stouts are really good.
And I
903
bought that
stouts are
one
good.
just because I figured everything I have from 903 stout wise is pretty damn good.
Yeah, their stouts are like, if you ever come across, like Chupacabra is pretty easy to find. Sasquatch, Birthday Sasquatch is really good. They brew that with marshmallow, ogre, manicore. Those are all really good. I mean, 903 puts out some really, really good
But
stuff.
I typically don't drink more than 1 a week.
All right.
If I drink one, because
I
sometimes what we
typically
have
drink
on just
more
a
than that.
sip, that's it for me, and that's why I have them because I like them, and I'd like to try them, but I have to feel good about
Yeah.
myself to try them.
No, I hear you.
So I just collect them.
There's that. Anybody else have anything else you want to bring up? Nope. Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming out. Really awesome to see so many of you supporting us. It means a lot, for real. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. If you want a t-shirt, we'll have them for you over there. Appreciate it very much. Thanks a lot,
Thanks.
guys. Sweet. Are you guys getting barbecue after the podcast? I mean, I was going to eat a taco. All right. Thanks to all of you watching online. Appreciate it.
Oh, what's up, man?
We'll be in touch soon.
I ain't
Take care.
recognize what your mask on. Hey.